Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Trovo Titans Warzone Finals. I'm Tolsma, with me is RJ Kaas, and we're taking you into a beautiful birthday bash. Of course, we're celebrating an anniversary for the Trovo platform. That means we have quite some money to give away in some community cups.
Honestly, what a birthday to celebrate and what a great game to do it with. Some Warzone. I'm really excited for this. This is going to be really awesome to see how these players all face up and those amazing prizes that are up for grabs. And not only for the players, but also for the viewers if they get lucky enough to enter later on.
Yeah, of course, it's going to be quite interesting to see who will, of course, play in that one. I think we're going to have quite an amazing tournament already, and we have a format, of course, to be explained for you guys. We have a point system, which is quite common for the placement. You get some points per kills, you get some points. It will be on Verdansk 84, and it will be a Battle Royale solo. So, RJ, you just grind out the kills with your aim, right?
Yes, I absolutely do. I have to admit, of course, I'm a big fan of the Warzone game, and I even got a win yesterday, if you can believe it.
Well, I can't believe because you sent it. Well, let's of course also have a look at the payouts for the first game. Of course, with the finalists that have qualified via the qualifier system, we have 3,000 euros to be given away. The number one takes 700 euros in cash and, of course, very important, 70 Titan points. Those Titan points, of course, will add up with all the other things you can do to get Titan points, playing in different tournaments, being in the Discord, and of course some more options that will come in later. And of course that could net you a beautiful amount of money later on possibly. The players for our finalists match are of course quite a hefty bunch. You can just look if you see the one that seems familiar, and on the right side we have quite some streamers as well that are on the Trovo Live platform, which means we might actually have a look with them.
A bit of a mum get the camera moment, because obviously the players are right here, so capture this and relish the fact that your name is on the screen. And indeed, those streamers, of course, being invited into the tournament are going to be very interesting factors, because you can usually say that means that they are the somewhat more experienced, more advanced Warzone players. So I'm very interested to see how they will stack up against the people that have qualified for the tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, but something more interesting is, of course, the viewer game that we'll have as well. Despite the finalists that have already qualified, those at home, your viewers, can be there as well to play in a different tournament. There will be 1,000 euros to be spent out, but of course we also have a referral code which you could use yourself, which then will grant you some gems according to how many refers you get. But what are the benefits? Of course, as a referred streamer, you will earn gems as you level up. The higher the level, the more gems you get, and those gems, 100, are actually already worth $1. So the further you progress on level 4, I believe is already around $380. I think that's quite a big return on investment, RJ.
Yeah, pretty solid if you ask me. So reasons enough to actually just join the program. If you are one of those streamers, get people into it, and before you know it, you've got a nice little cash bonus right on top of just your regular streaming income, you could even say, and just get people on that platform and register on, of course, Trovo.live and enjoy those potential bonuses and those beautiful gems.
Yeah, I think you're already a gem to begin with, RJ, so I'm not that eager to just farm it in because I'm already happy, but maybe I just will just slightly on the side, of course. RJ, we're really stoked for, of course, we'll have 3 different matches here today. Of course, 2 with the finalists, 1 with the viewer games. So those of you that are already watching, make sure to join our Discord and, of course, already have a Trovo account so you can join for those the viewer game. I shouldn't say those because that would be silly. And I'm really curious to see what the viewers can bring in, because RJ, you would have easily qualified, but people less skilled like me might just want to take a gamble in the viewer game and then be as sneaky as can be and still get some points.
Who knows, right? And I'll admit, maybe I would have made a chance. It really depends, though. It's kind of hit and miss. I'm not always the best at Warzone. I think that everyone has those kind of moments where they have a day where they can hit all the shots, rock that Kar 98, as everyone is probably using right now, I'm guessing, and just really get the insane headshots. I believe even yesterday it was, you have those moments where you think, okay, that's pretty good. Like, I was in the car and I was playing in squads, and we drove by someone just from the car, sprayed him down, clean and calculated. And if I can keep hitting those shots, just like perhaps the people at home can, then I think that there's a solid chance to get into those viewer games. And well, you know, people that have qualified now, first off, of course, we are going to be seeing that game. And I'm really interested because I think there can definitely be some diamonds in the rough.
Of course, we still have some more events coming into that Trovo Titans birthday bash, and these are those to come. Of course, right now we still have that solo Warzone tournament that we will see fairly soon, and afterwards in the following weekends we'll have Brawl Stars, the qualifiers first, and then the eventual tournament, and of course something we're also going to be part of, the CSGO Wingman tournament, RJ, and I dare to say, you make a very good wingman.
Oh wow! I expected it a little bit, but I think I can say the same about you. You know, I can imagine as well that the Wingman tournament is going to give some spectacular viewing pleasure for the people at home. But that's something for later. For now, of course, we are looking at Warzone, and I'm really curious to see how this is all going to pan out. You know, I feel like Warzone, of course, it is a battle royale, but with how it's made, it's always quite dynamic, and it can still be really high-paced. You can really see a lot of action happening, a lot of interesting things going down, and I just want to see those insane sniper shots as well. Maybe that's what I'm holding out the most, you know? I think that's my favorite, you know, thing to see happen, those insane long-range sniper kills.
Yeah, an important part to take into account as well is that it will be a solo Battle Royale mode. So that means you don't have a squad to back you up if you go down, or at least you'll be shot at. You are fairly certain you won't get turned on by another bunch of guys. Maybe, of course, unless if they are close, they might actually try to gang up on you. All by themselves, of course. So that's going to be quite interesting to see. How will the players actually go about it? Because as we will have in this finalist match, there will be points awarded for every kill. So you'd want to possibly go for those kills, because even if you get 10 kills, that would equal a victory as well, because the number one, the sole survivor in the end, we have to say, will be getting 20 points. But if you already sneak up on some guys, as you say, maybe a long-range snipe with the car, not Mom's car, but the car 98, you can actually make it work and get some good points in for yourself a little bit early on.
Absolutely. It's really interesting. I think that we'll be seeing quite the range of play styles as well, because you kind of always have that toss-up of a player that's perhaps very waiting and always holding back, waiting until an enemy runs by and knowing, okay, I've just heard some sort of sound cue, I know that there's someone in the area, and just holding back. But at the same time, you have those really aggressive players that prefer, you know, an SMG or an assault rifle. Expect to see that MAC-10, for example. That's probably the most used SMG right about now. Or, of course, when it comes to that assault rifle, the CR. I'm really interested because I think that it's always a risk that you take. You know, you can go really aggressive, you can hunt for those kills, but your aim just has to be off a little bit. And if you get shot down, okay, you might have a self-revive kit, but assuming that you are playing quite aggressive, you're going to be close to your opponent anyway, so you can just casually walk over and, you know, go for the melee finish. That's what I always do. When I know that someone's like self-reviving, I just run to them and just bash until I know, okay, they're definitely down and they're not getting that self-reviving. I know, maybe a little.
Are you sometimes going for the finisher as well? Just
to
be like the big boy.
I don't really get the chance that often, I have to say. Usually I just have to make do and like have to kill them from a range. But I will admit as well, you know, I tend to be someone who also plays more in squads, so I don't really get the chance to shine solo all that much. Although I do play solo every now and then. I do play it every now and then.
Well, we're of course a really good squad. We've always played together and almost always won, usually just finishing second with certain things. Underneath RJ, you can also see our good friend Chameleon, and he'll give you some small tips as well. He's now talking about the Gulag. RJ, what is your worst matchup weapon-wise in the Gulag? What do you hate the most?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think a lot of people would probably say fists here, but I haven't gotten that one all that much, so I don't know how terrible it is, and I think that one kind of just allows you to have some flexibility. But maybe akimbo pistols, for example, or like a Magnum. Not a fan of the Magnum. I tend to do pretty well in my Gulag matches, but still, you know, sometimes those weapons are terrible. As of late, I've been getting a lot of shotguns as well when I'm going in the Gulag. A lot of shotgun fights, and I'm
terrible with shotguns.
Yeah, I think honestly, shotguns they're not not my thing. I mean, I like the idea behind them, but I prefer an assault rifle, you know.
Yeah, I like to spray and pray, and I think that's maybe also why you don't like the Magnum, because it's a little bit more of a single shot opportunity at a
Yep,
certain
yep.
point. I do dislike whatever shield comes up. Like if there's a shield involved somewhere, I just
Oh,
instantly hate
right.
it because my brain can't handle those kind of things. RJ,
Yeah.
you see me, simple man. I just want to go for headshots. If there's something in the way, I don't understand what it is, and I just tilt, and then I usually just die, and it's gone. But indeed, the fisty
Oh.
fights, not really a big fan of those either, because I don't like to go up close and personal. Look at me, I'm a skinny man. How do you think I could stand in a fight in real life? Like, this is just a little bit of a
Oh.
simulator. If it comes to that, I'll just run away, you know?
I get it, I get it. That's fair, you know, you have to know your strengths. The one tip I can give you for when you are dealing with those shields, utility. You know, if you've got a flash in hand
Yeah.
or a stun grenade, just throw those and run up to them, and then you've got a chance, but it's still a very tough fight to play. I think that's how I've usually, in the off chances that I have actually played with a riot shield, that's how I've gotten my kills, by just overwhelming them with utility. I think I once actually managed to stick a Semtex to someone when
Ooh.
I had a shield. Yeah, that I think, or at least at some point. Those are also always really satisfying kills. I don't know if you've ever pulled that off.
No, RJ, I'm not that good with utility, I have to say. Like,
Oh,
I have to already think about it in advance. Like, my brain can't do that on its own if I'm in such a, well, I have to say, stressful situation, because if you don't get a kill,
hmm,
you're probably out, unless if you have a very nice squad mate that goes for a redeploy, but whoever has that, I don't
yeah.
know.
Mm.
So I usually I just want to run in, go for the kill. If that doesn't work, I'm done for. And then I'll be slightly tilted, I have to admit, not gonna lie.
Oh,
But it's just how it is, RJ. Like, not everyone can be a winner like you. How
oh.
much people do you have in your squad yesterday when you won? Was it just a solo game because
Um,
you're the solo god?
no, no. I will admit it was a full squad. I think it was actually a full squad.
Ooh.
Yeah, and we did have a slight advantage because we played really well tactically and positioning wise. And at the end, it all came down to this. Well, I think it was a 3v4, and then it ended up being a duo that was left, and they ended up being killed, I believe. And it was one guy left in a Bertha. So we just had to spray down the truck, and eventually he got out. And I believe it was me or my teammate one of my teammates who got the kill. But yeah, that was it. That was Warzone victory. And I do have to say, you know, I sent it to you obviously because you just had to flex a little bit. I
Instantly.
mean, let's be real. Yeah, but it was really satisfying, and it kind of gave me like that, you know, assurance of, okay, I'm good enough in the game. I feel confident enough to cast this tomorrow.
Well, that's important, RJ, because if you wouldn't have had that win, I wouldn't want to see you sweating all that much right here. Because, of course, now the sun is shining after it being rainy all day when I had to cycle. But, well,
Oh,
sometimes you just need to sweat in game, and then you'll be golden, and you'll have your workout cut out for you for a later stage. What would you say is your favorite weapon? Are you one of those guys that really instantly goes for the car? Because it is the most picked
mm,
weapon, but it doesn't have
yeah.
the best KD, because it's usually one of those things that people say, oh, I feel a little bit safe with the car, so I'm just going to stay back. And then they usually just get flanked because they don't really notice what's going on behind them.
Yeah, I have to say it's a bit of a toss-up because, like I just said, you know, I actually do like the car because I just like those long-range battles. But at the same time, sometimes I just feel like playing an assault rifle. And actually, my loadout is called a kilo car, which is just a car and a kilo. So yeah, it just makes
Very
sense, you know.
original.
Yep. And I just, yeah, that's like my loadout that I like to play usually. And when it does get down to those close range battles, obviously I do switch to the assault rifle. So I'm on the fence about it. And I also want to give an honorary mention to the RPG. It's really dirty if
Oh,
you play
yeah.
with it, but to just be able to spot someone and shoot a rocket at them. Oh, I remember at one point I actually managed to wipe out an entire squad. They were in a, I think it was was it a buggy? Yeah, so like, yeah, they weren't in a truck because I shot the RPG at them. Oh no, they were in an SUV. That was it. They were in an SUV. Shot the RPG at them as they were crossing the bridge, and boom, just wiped the entire team. I have to say, hands down, one of the most satisfying kills ever.
Well, you might know this, but the Dutch Ministry of Defense, this sounds weird for those that aren't really aware, they have esports teams nowadays. And the most amazing thing, they also have a Warzone team, and they were actually streaming yesterday, so I figured I'd just tune in. And there was their lieutenant, who's the big boss, of course, of the team. He was also playing there, just enjoying life. And then one of those guys who's really, really good, is like top 10 of the Netherlands. He said, "Oh, those guys are using an RPG. It's such a weak gun. I don't like people that use it." And then his lieutenant goes like, "I just used RPG. Do you want to say something to me?" And suddenly it all went quiet, and I don't know why. So just know, if you want to tilt some good players, you might just throw in that RPG, you know, because a rocket-propelled grenade is always the way to go. By the way, RJ, on your loadout, I think you should maybe upgrade the name just to mess with people's minds even more. Call it the Kilo 98. Because then you have the Kilo and then a number from the other one.
Ooh, that's clever, actually. Oh, I do like that idea. You might be onto something there, actually. Maybe, just maybe. Yeah. Honestly, at the end of the day, you know, the name is their details. I think the most important thing is making those weapons work their magic. But what about you? Do you actually prefer that, like the long-range weapons, or do you have a particular assault rifle that you like to go to yourself?
Well, RJ, there's one problem with me. That's inconsistency. It's a major factor with every game I play, and especially with also Warzone. It's like the one day I can hit my shots on range, so then I'll go for the car because, well, of course, who doesn't use the car? And
obviously,
then I'll maybe hit some shots, and then the other day I won't hit a single shot with it, and I'll still probably pick it up because I think I'm a good player, but I'm actually not. But then I should probably go for a more close range option. Probably also go for the Kilo because the spray control is just way easier. I don't like SMGs. Too much fire, too much noise. Doesn't work with my brain. But I also sometimes just like to bust out the AK just because of the legendary name. Damage output pretty great. Not always as meta as can be, but sometimes you just need to change the meta up a little bit yourself, right?
I mean, it's true, you know, in the AK, it's not terribly underused, I think, and it does have its place in the game. But yeah, it's a certain playstyle that it leans to as well. You know, you have to just want to deal with the low rate of fire and the high damage, and I think that's okay. I actually, it reminds me of the Odin, which I used, well, I think a season or two ago, when that used to be the meta, I believe at one point at least, because it had terribly slow fire rate, but it had such high damage. It was insane. I actually really liked using it for that reason, but now you never see that one anymore. So sad, so sad.
You should just bring it back.
Just start playing with it myself and just be like, no, guys, this assault rifle, it has to come back into the game. You know, we just have to accept it once again.
Well, maybe, if you're smart, you actually bring other people to play it. But you know it's bad. And then the next time you just switch it up to the actual proper meta, and then you'll actually wreck people. Like, it's the reverse psychology, RJ. And maybe, just maybe, of course, we'll later have, after this finalist match, also a viewer game. For which, of course, you can now sign up already to join our Discord, have a Trovo Live account, and make sure to submit whatever you need to submit according to the Discord and, messages. They just explain everything you have to do. And maybe you can show us a different meta. Maybe you can just show us some different weapons, maybe some different styles of play, which we wouldn't expect. Maybe some 360 no-scopes, because, of course, it's Call of Duty, man. You just need to have a trick shotter in there somewhere, because otherwise it wouldn't really feel like a complete game.
I mean, yeah, totally, right? There's no doubt about that. And I like I said earlier, I'm really excited to see the crazy plays, maybe from the streamers most of all. But as we said earlier as well, and as that referral bonus will give you, you know, I spoke of a gem, and then I do mean a diamond in the rough. Maybe in those qualifiers, maybe in that, you know, one of those players that is going to be just the shining player, the shining light, who ends up beating out everyone. I think that's really possible, to be honest, because you never know what kind of underdogs might be participating and how good they might actually be at the game. And I'm really excited to see that as well. You know, I don't want to put all the pressure, all the focus on the streamers, but also I'm curious to see what those players might do and how good they might be.
Yeah, we're just about to jump in towards the match, and of course then we'll see both normal players when we spectate them, but also some streamers mainly, because it's always interesting to see how they can cope with the pressure of everyone watching and some big money on the line. As said before, for this first finalist match, which is of course a solo match as every single one of them is, there will be a €3,000 prize pool. Of course, the most going to the victor, but you just don't need to survive. As long as you get a lot of kills, you might actually be able to come back on those kill numbers of someone else. RJ, what do you think the top amount of kills will be? Just a guess.
Oh, I'm saying definitely somewhere towards at least 10, maybe even 15. But we do have to keep in mind, of course, that it isn't the full 150 people participating, obviously, due to Warzone being Warzone pretty much. I think going for 10 minimum and maybe towards 15, I think that's very possible. If we have one of those players that just frags people like there's no tomorrow, I see that happen. Absolutely.
Yeah, normally you'd say, oh, it might be a little bit bumped up because sometimes if you play in squads, you have to redeploy. So that might actually help you a little bit to get some more kills in the grand scheme of things. With it being solo, as you said before, we have, I believe, about 60 players to play with. Well, then if you already have 10 kills, you've killed a massive amount of those people. A decent chunk. So it's going to be, I think, about 10 most likely to be the cap. And it also really depends on how close certain people will drop next to each other. Will there be just one player against some slightly worse players, possibly, where he could just rack up single kill after single kill, hopefully for him at least then getting the best loadout as soon as possible, or at least some decent weaponry. Because, well, RJ, I'd be the one to pick up a shotgun and then go on a long-range fight.
Oh, wow. Well, it at least. Maybe that way you can learn and improve in the long run. Do you actually, speaking about dropping, do you actually have a favorite spot that you like to go to? Do you feel like a TV station, or what type of man are you?
I just, whatever suits my eyes, man. It's like, never drop too early, because if you drop early, there will be a bunch of people there. It's only if I have to really blow up Steam and I don't really care about sets anymore. I just try to dive in straight away, try to mess up as many people as you can. But normally I just think like, oh, well, that isn't too close, but isn't too far either. I'll just go for that. And if it's a TV station, great. I'll watch on TV as well and maybe do some commentary on there just to let everybody be warned that there's some dangerous stuff coming in.
Yep, very meta as well, to just go inside the game. Yeah, at the moment, there is some slight difficulty, a crash in the game, which means that the lobby is being redone. It gives us a little bit more time to get into that discourse and talk about, how we perhaps like playing ourselves and what might happen with these players. Do you have a certain, feeling, what do you want to see? Do you have something that you really actually want to see happen? A particular play or something insane?
Roadkill. It's the only thing I could really say in that regard. Because, well, you already said, I want to see Car 98 big range, big damage, get those kills in. Nah, I just want to see a roadkill. Because now you don't really have that many people that can shoot at a certain vehicle at a time. It's just going to be one and maybe some other guy randomly around it figures, oh, I'll just shoot at it as well and maybe it'll blow up. Now you just have most likely one person trying desperately to get rid of a car if he decides to go for it, which I wouldn't really expect all that much. But if you just see pedestrian crossing, well, RJ, it's going to be just bonus points for you. And now actually bonus points, just 2 points for a kill. So I really hope that someone eventually gets a road kill and will be able to see it.
I actually did manage to get a roadkill yesterday, if you can believe it. I do find sometimes they can be quite difficult to get, though. It depends on the player as well, because sometimes players are really good at juking around those corners or diving behind a tree just at the right moment. I think that's the main problem. But in this case, in my case at least, this guy just stood there and kept shooting in the hopes perhaps that he was going to destroy the truck just in time. But as I can tell you, he didn't. He was squashed.
Well, sometimes you just get squashed, sometimes you squash people yourself. I dare to say just getting a roadkill, oh, I almost hit my microphone, I'm sorry, it's a little bit crazy to at least tilt some people. If they also don't have a gulag anymore, it's going to be extra tilting, because then you're instantly out and you're just there like, how could this happen to me? I've made my mistakes, and then the worst part is if you spectate the
Oh.
one that killed you, and that person can't even drive properly. How much of a tilter would that be?
Yeah, that would be the worst, you know, like seeing them just crash into a rock 5 seconds later after they actually managed to kill you. I mean, I do believe though, actually, that makes me think of the fact the guy that I managed to kill, he did laugh when I ran him over, so I felt like he was at least being sportive about it. You know, he could see
All right.
the fun in it. So I do admire that. At least if you go down with a smile, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes you just have those salty deaf voices coming in, which are
Yeah.
really, really great. If it happens to you that you hear them at least. Sometimes you hear some creative things. Sometimes you just hear a desk being smashed, which is always great. How's your desk holding up if you don't get a win?
No, it's fine. I don't get that mad. I tend to just be like, oh, but I don't get all too crazy, or I don't start smashing desks or ruining keyboards or mice. I'm pretty okay in that regard.
That sounds like such a silly thing. Oh, you silly bugger. Oh, well, next time we'll get him. And then he'll just go for another match. He'll just instantly be killed from the drop. Good luck, be smashed into pieces by someone with fisticuffs, and then you'll be done for. Maybe the people at home, of course, can try to show us what's the real deal to play with. You can join the viewer game. The Discord link was just posted in the Trovo chat, and that means that you can, of course, then participate if you sign up, do the proper things, and then maybe you can have a fair shot at winning your share of the $1,000 euros. And that's, of course, quite nice for just a single game of Warzone. And of course, it will be solo, so you don't even need to carry your teammates. How great is that, RJ?
I mean, yeah, right? You don't have to deal with those pesky teammates being annoying, and I feel like that can sometimes really be a difficult factor. I actually, I don't know if you've ever had to deal with that, but even maybe not just in Warzone, in any game, but when you're like fighting and you are the last man standing, have you ever dealt with that type of teammate that keeps shouting, oh no, to your left, no, but don't forget, oh, you have to reload, You know, that is the worst. Have you
The
had to
beautiful
deal with that
backseat
very often?
gaming. Yeah, well, I've been there. It's really, really hard to then, of course, concentrate. And then they're also screaming in your ears, why don't you hear that? Did you hear him? And then you're like, no, of course I didn't hear him. I have you screaming in my ears. How the hell should I make out some steps or shots or whatever next to me? It's impossible, man. So yeah, well, that's always a little bit of a difficult part. But those are the people you might want to shy away from at certain moments, or just give them a lesson which they won't forget.
Ooh, or just hit the deafen button, obviously.
That's also a very good one if you have a bind.
That might be the best solution, you know, to just have a deafen button like bound, and then we'll see. But it sounds like we might actually be getting close, Challenger. You might actually be about to get into a game.
I'm really curious to see who will be the victor. Will it be one of our streamers, or will it just be one of our finalists that have qualified via our qualifiers before? I do see in the Trovo chat a lot of people saying that Melee B is probably the best player out there. So I'm curious to see if we'll see some great plays from that person in particular, or maybe just a little bit of a whip every now and then, because with all the viewers being ready, it's of course going to be quite hard. We're dropping soon in towards this match, just a little bit of a prep moment, and we're going to be joining one of the streamers straight away. Of course, just being shot out of the air, always a little bit of tilt, you just want to spray down people yourself, wouldn't you?
Oh, so painful, so painful. Yeah, that's what those warm-ups are for, of course, you know. But I get the struggle. I've had that done to me every now and then. What I tend to do is fall back pretty far, you know, like don't actually take the risk of going in the middle of the entire zone where everyone's looking at the air, and just wait it out and just see what gives.
Yeah, that's a lot of choppers coming right in, RJ. That seems a little bit scary. But luckily, those choppers don't do too much to you. The chopper can't hurt you, is what a lot of people would dare to say. It seems like we're going to see an interesting drop. See if there will be a lot of people there or not. At least it's already in the ring. There will be, of course, some vehicles nearby. And, well, RJ, what's your take on this? Will this be the winning combination?
Oh, this is a difficult one. If I see that ring, we might be looking at, well, quite close to the coast. I'm always a little bit, hesitant to call a prison ring, prison circle. That
Hmm.
is always an interesting one, but I don't dare say. We'll have to see how that goes. Right now, this streamer, of course, King McDev, he's going for the old
Uh-oh.
well, airport drop. This is risky, but he's got his hands on a gun right away. But he knows that there's someone behind him, the danger zone, and he's in the middle of it. But he's
Well,
fallen
maybe
back
it's a
and he's playing it
highway.
safe.
The
Oh,
highway to the danger zone, RJ, because, well, I'd be rather scared if he instantly gets shot at. McDev now trying to play a little bit more quietly, hoping that his opponent, or at least the guy who or girl who threatened him, might be walking into his aim relatively soon. 76 players alive at this moment in time, so there's more than enough kills to get. However, this is not really getting too quickly, as we don't see a lot of kills coming in with solo matches. Of course, people will be a little bit scared if they die a little bit early, so then we'll have to, of course, expect a little bit more passive playstyle. Here we do see Jay the Sixth trying to go around with his beautiful blue car. And, well, sometimes you just park it a little bit less neatly than your parents would have liked.
yeah. You just kind of got to make do sometimes, and when you're in a rush, I kind of get it. A bit of a hasty parking job. In this case, Jay looking around and going for the. That's about the best bridge crossing you can find, I think. Sometimes you just gotta make do and see if you can find something somewhere. It looks like Jay right now might be still looking to upgrade that loadout, seeing as he's still running his 1911 right now, and he should be able to find something soon enough.
Yeah, I believe he already had the RPD as well, which is of course great, but you might want to get some extra ammunition with that because just 54 bullets isn't that great, and he gets sneaked up from behind. Derby actually
Oh!
getting the kill with now also an SMG of his choice, and that might actually mean that we have one player already going down. A little bit painful for our beloved Jay. I already, well, grown to like him, but that means that we
You were
already
getting a
have one
little.
player with a kill.
Yeah, you were getting a little bit attached there, huh? But
Oh,
indeed, newbie. Oh wow, the 200 IQ rigging the SUV with the claymore. I am curious to see though, newbie gets an armor satchel here. That's really strong. To see how this is gonna play out. Oh, newbie, he goes down. What a shame. And that means that Basilica gets a lot of free upgrades here. Some loot hand delivered.
well, he'll be quite happy with that one as he has the AK, so I dare to say that's the best weapon to keep a hold of. And I'm not sure if he actually did. Just goes for a casual reload, has a flashlight as well, which is always really good to give away your own position. At least sometimes people do get a little bit of a sight of where you are. But he's now onto one kill, destroyed of course one of his opponents, which was Nobi, the guy we just saw get a kill a little bit earlier. But Basilica is a little bit scared.
Ooh.
I'm just really curious, RJ, if we will eventually see him go for that SUV and how painful it would be.
I mean, it depends, right? Looking at his position right now, I think he's pretty much in the circle, so he shouldn't be too worried in that regard. But yeah, it looks like he won't be going for that SUV. A lucky call in that sense. And he's still got that recon mission as well that he might want to play out soon enough, because obviously, that gives him the chance to see where he has to go next. And that is pretty vital here. Oh,
Oh, I
he's
think he heard
yeah,
someone.
he's
Uh,
there's got to be someone in the area, yeah. But then I wonder why he would leave the flashlight and the laser on.
and just to
Oh,
bait
he's just
people, because of course they wouldn't know, would they? Well, they would. But so far we don't really see a lot going on. Now has the stoner in hand and the glow catalyst as he's trying to move in a little bit down the road. This is quite open. So I dare to say this isn't always the safest approach, would it be?
I think that in this case, he just figures, you know what, there's no one in the area. I'll be fine. In the meantime, here, looking at, by the looks of things, Docker Fnatic Docker even. So someone who's supposed to be at least on a certain level of play here. So I'm very curious to see how he's going to pan out and what he might do and how he could actually surprise us here, perhaps be the best player in the tournament.
Yeah, only 62 players alive at this moment in time. Docker already has a single kill before, and that means he might be looking for more, and with that, more points. Well, then goes off his quad and might get a quad kill soon enough, as he's trying to slowly move up. By the way, if there's a certain amount of donations, apparently he'll go for an LEG cosplay. How much of a fan are you of that movie?
I mean, I do. It has made me laugh quite a lot, and I could see him pulling this off. I gotta say, I can see the slight similarities there. So maybe, that is definitely the right call to make there. I'm rooting for him to make a really solid LEG. In the meantime, though, he looks to be hunting a bounty. And he is looking for Young Dolph to actually eliminate and obviously get a nice cash bonus. Perhaps by his self-revive kit or some sort of kill streak, a UAV, precision airstrike. You never know what you might need.
How could he murder a young dolphin? That's the big question for me, but well, some people are just brutal, RJ. That's what we should know. Actually has this very small circle on the head of his opponent, but just maybe a little bit scared that he might be on top of a building rather than on the ground floor, which will make it a little bit harder and maybe a little bit easier for him to be killed. The awkward thing is, he is of course a French speaking player, so we don't really understand all that much what he's saying to his viewers right here on Trovo Live.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
I was figuring you'd say, "Hey, now you're a rock star," but you didn't.
No, to be fair, I think it's far too difficult to try and discover exactly what he's saying. I do know one thing: he is for sure finding a lot of pretty items. You can get that ammo refill too, and a lot of stuff to really work with. He's also got his own loadout already, so he doesn't have to buy a loadout anymore. That's also something really running for him. And yeah, tactical rover and go.
Yeah, he's just going to go to the store, you know how it is. Just trying to get your dinner for tonight. But of course, he's already got some money. 56 players alive at this moment in time. The kills aren't coming that quickly, but as the gas will come in and the ring will be closing, the more kills will be flying out as well. Now, of course, not instantly running towards that storefront, because well, you first have to clear some safety points, because otherwise you might be messing yourself up. Let's go back to our good friend Basilica, as he's now actually, I think, also found a loadout of his own.
Yep.
He's still at the same very open road, which still makes me a little bit scared, RJ.
I think he is just a safe player. He is not taking any risk, and he figures, okay, you know what, guys, fine, I'll just wait it out, and I'll see who might come up. And he's just enjoying a nice little day on the beach, He's got the sea here by him. And he's thinking, I'm just having the best time of my life. Yeah, I gotta say, this is the kind of play style that is very safe. You won't have too much risk, but Melee.
Very, very poor shooting.
He spotted someone, and he's pushing ahead.
Now he knows where I am.
Running, I believe that's the Mac 10.
Yeah, he's hyped, and the people in the Trovo live chat were also quite hyped. He has said, however, with his, I quote, poor shooting, he probably knows where he is, and even with the heartbeat sensor, he can't really find his opponent. Having to reload, hoping to possibly get something done. As we said before, these are the weapons we would expect from some pro players to come in. And will Melee be the man for us? And will he get the kill on screen? Or
I still think he's under this bridge, if I'm honest.
And he's a little bit scared, isn't he?
Oh, a little bit of fright there. And I do get it. I really recognize the position that he's in because, well, you never know where that enemy's gone. Could have been gone. Oh, spots a tactical rover there, though. But he manages to evade it for now. The tactical rover decides to just go a little bit further and hasn't spotted him, I believe.
I'm going to just push my loading. I'm going to go for it.
Well, tactical rover incoming, as they would say. hard enough, as he's now trying to go past that loadout drop, possibly picking something up. And he's doubting. He's
I better have
doubting a
Ghost on
lot,
that, bro.
and then he'll just swap around, possibly
Oh, yeah,
still
wait,
even with his weapons. And he's going for the Seek-Off now, together now with the car. Can't really get the clean shot on towards the driver of the truck. And vroom vroom, he will go out instantly. And the jailbreak is imminent.
Indeed, means everyone
this guy off over
gets
here.
out of the goal. Like, everyone goes back into the game, which is, of course, very, very nice. Makes it all a little bit more exciting, especially seeing as
Thanks for the
now,
mana, bro.
you know,
Appreciate
the
it.
circle is getting tighter and tighter, and people will be forced closer and closer to
There's
each
definitely a
other.
guy over here, man.
And now we see it.
This is where I need
Everyone
bounties and
comes
shit,
up,
man.
but Melee, he's seemingly, well, either got a hunch,
Because no one's going to
or he's
deploy over
actually
here, are they?
spotted
This is
someone.
where we got lucky last
But
time.
I
We killed that guy on the drop.
I think that he's got a hunch by the sounds of it. This is an area that he's played in the past, and means that he's just playing on feeling.
And the safest bet right now is so
Another
many
point.
players dropping once more is just staying slightly out of a position where you would expect some
What's the
loot
play
to be
here?
found. And then with the car, you
What's the
could
play, I
easily
wonder?
clean someone up. If you go close range, of course, you might be the hunted one yourself, as they might actually come to get you. On this hilltop, he'll be quite happy inside the ring for now. And even a truck flying or driving by, rather. He's doubting, should I go for the shot? Well, he will, but he will not get a hit. Just a little bit of mechanical damage and just
over
go
here.
for a little bit of a cheeky spray as well.
Stay off my
Beautiful
lawn.
skin, as he does now also say that they have to stay off his lawn, honey bun.
Stay off my lawn, you damn kids.
Get off
but
my
indeed
property.
he's-
Oh, no.
Scares him away.
My
and-
heartbeat.
Oh dear. He's just
heartbeat.
forgotten the fact.
Oh,
he
no.
picked up a loadout, and he
And
never
he
ended up
messed up
taking his
somehow.
heartbeat back, which is, of course,
And that's
very
the one right
painful.
there.
Heartbeat
Hey, boys, we've got an
is,
excuse
to
now,
my
right?
knowledge, hands down,
We have got an
right now,
excuse.
the most used bit of tactical equipment next to, or well, above the stun grenade. Well, I do have to say, of course, I do see the strength of the stun grenade as well, because it has a long-lasting effect. In the meantime, Chazahai, I think if I'm saying that right, because these names can sometimes be
He was
terribly
very
confusing.
lucky to be. Now he'll be sprayed out by that truck player, of course, seeing the parachute going off, and that's quite a big giveaway that there might be someone there. He'll try to move up slightly, as the truck has also now gone to a different position. But now it seems to be a Mexican standoff. Both players looking at, well, roughly each other's position. The truck now trying to come back. Well, roadkill would be on table if the player wouldn't be on a container. He might actually be surprising his opponent right here. Just goes for a cheeky spray. Some damage being dealt on towards the truck. Just going for more, because if you have an LMG, well, you have more than enough bullets, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, and I do get the move, but this tense fight is escalating, and they seem to be dodging around each other all the time. Jazahai here goes for the armor plates, of course, logical choice. And I have to say, I admire his loadout as well, you know, going for the MAC-10 plus the LMG. No snipers for this man. He just makes do, and actually pushes the loadout. Very, very bold move, and then decides to still hold on to his same loadout, still holding the LMG, still feeling those shots scooting on by him. He's only got 2 armor plates left. He is in a tough spot. Might actually be looking right now to see if he can't recover some armor plates somewhere. And I think that he could actually buy some if he figures it's worth the risk.
Yeah, he's now trying to dance around these containers to possibly, with his SMG, force out a short-range battle. Now, trying to look a little bit higher and go for a kill. It would be great, but now we actually see on the heartbeat in a replay that he might have actually had a kill, but new player dropping down. Well, this was a little bit cheeky. Got pre-fired himself, but still had the kill in the end. That has brought him to a grand total of 2. 49 players now alive, as some more have fallen since the redrop. We still seem to be at a higher margin than we were before. Well, our beloved player once more getting spotted out by someone in a car, but the car actually goes away rather than a car 98.
Hey, indeed, well put. And with that, Jazahai manages to get out alive and save. Trophy system on top of the roof of the SUV. This is a classic. And now we'll see what gives. Heartbeat sensor goes out, and with that, Ghostoya clears the area. Once again, quite a safe spot, but also not really a spot where he's going to find a lot of loot, I'm afraid.
Well, sometimes you just find that little thing you need, RJ. And then you'd be quite happy. Meantime, he's just aiming downside the entire way he's going. Just looking for whatever he could do. He's just a little bit scared there might be someone close. But, well, if you have a heartbeat sensor, you at least know. He's moving up the stairs like a ninja in disguise, with a silencer on his rifle and death looking in his eyes. But now we go to a different player. It's Nobi, actually a man we've seen before. He gets a kill on towards DJ Dinko. And who's really now bringing the heat. Not really much emotion on that kill, because he just knows it's a casual one for him.
Easy, you know, no effort even. He just pulls it off and falls back, you know. Now gets a self-revive kit in his hands, which is very strong, of course. But I feel like that's always a difficult one to play with because, okay, it gives you the chance to self-revive, but your enemy tends to notice, you know. You can see, oh, I downed him, I didn't eliminate him, so normally you will be pushed and you have to find yourself in a very safe spot. I see the self-revive kit in a more useful situation if you're playing a long-range battle, you're on top of a building and you have cover, and then you get hit, you get headshot and instantly down, but you fall back and you're safe behind cover. Then you can pop out that self-revive kit and actually, revive yourself, because that's how it works, and get back in the game.
You can really teach me all about this game. I think it's also quite valuable if you are more in a squad situation where there's just a tense fight and indeed more long range. Then you could actually have a little bit of that chaos work to your advantage. And then whip it out and make it happen. In the meantime, we're still looking at Nobi, who has 1,540 wins, which is quite a big number. And he's now looking with the car, misses the first shot, goes for a spray, now gets the armor correct, but he can't really get the kill or at least a down. But there will be the headshot and the elimination. Not really as clean as can be, but it does work, doesn't it?
I do like the fact, though, you know, having the sense to actually see that corner and then eliminate that enemy. Very well done. And now gives him his 5th kill so far. And Nobi right now is actually being really strong. And as we look at the circle, we can see that things are going to get tense in downtown. Dirty in downtown, you might say. In the meantime, Gastoya here, taking a look at him, he could just be a direct rival of Nobi with 4 kills at the moment. Very curious to see how this is going to pan out. And I have to say, you know, this downtown circle, that means a lot of buildings. That means a lot of close-range plays. So, we might not be seeing those snipers really come into action, but more those, well, AKs, for example, as Gastoya is rocking right here.
Told you, AK is best, my brother. And he's just trying to look at the angles. Meantime, we see Ringio right here. It actually has a motion blur, which is quite heavy. And he's just trying to move through. Do you like motion blur?
No, absolutely not. I always turn it off right away because I think like, you know what? I don't need that. Just it only takes away my visibility. But hey, I'm not one to judge a man's playstyle, and he's still made it so far. So clearly something's working for him, right?
Well, a good friend Chazaya is still standing by, was actually hit up and now has to reload as he still has an LMG in hand. He's a little bit worried, isn't he? Looking for a different option and contemplating on the choices made in his life. He's now seeing then a drop coming in. He knows that there will be someone around that container area. And he's still looking at a certain different spot, expecting another player being at that crane. Rather than, of course, where the beautiful flare, or well-colored smoke grenade, is currently still popping off.
Absolutely, and that's how we like to see them. In the meantime, Chazaya here, I wonder if he saw that truck cross.
Nice, just texting his girlfriend, I'm winning. See you later.
Could be. Oh, this is interesting. And here we see the fight going down. Some tags, but now distance makes it all difficult. But yeah, at the moment, I do wonder how this is all going to pan out. People are going to get very close to each other. And by the way, Jay Whitty here, not really rocking the best weaponry. Tends, unless he really likes this loadout and he feels like a loadout drop is perhaps a waste of money. Because he does have, he's got an armor section. Well, no, but I just, at this point, why doesn't he have... Oh, wait, I know why. After the jailbreak, he got back into the game. He's never had the chance to loot enough and get enough money. Drop that loadout marker and actually get a loadout. Oh, player down there, and he spots him, goes to the fight. Elimination clean. And he should be getting a chance to perhaps upgrade his weaponry after clearing the area.
Well, he's already got 7 kills, gets another good tag on towards someone, throws in some of his ordnances. Well, why wouldn't you? This time, however, not really doing too much damage, but there will be a cluster strike coming to his position, so he'll have to jump the rooftops and now also go for the parachute and then drive away in towards the ring. To his left, there will be another car, however, and he decides to go a different route, thinking maybe the player focusing on him earlier will go on that different player. That could give him all the time and place he needs to get in towards a safer angle. Loadout drop also now being spotted out, usually contested a little bit earlier, especially with the jailbreak coming down. And now he's already at the ring and he's actually going for it, just doing a magnificent job of parking his car. And he'll now have what he needs and possibly to get some fights in for himself.
Indeed, and I think the closer that we get towards the end now, it is very important to go for those fights at times even. Play it safe and make sure that you actually don't, risk people being close to you. But we'll see how that all pans out. Right now, back to Gostoya, who's making his way closer to the circle, as the circle itself is soon to get close. There are only 45 seconds remaining, and Gostoya here, he now knows that there's someone close. He's heard something, and he's watching the stairs patiently. He's got that heartbeat sensor. He's even got that precision airstrike. There's a lot of good goodies on him. If I were him, maybe pop that dead silence. Although right now his heartbeat sensor isn't giving away any players.
Oh, I believe he's... Oh, no, it's just a trash can. Never mind. That's just my eyes trying to trick me. There was actually someone there. I wasn't being tricked. I was right. There was a player, and now Gostoya gets the kill, brings his total up towards 5. Did he just see someone else move there? It might have just been my eyes again, just seeing things. There will also be some gas coming from behind him, so he'll have to move in towards the circle, and so he will, just in the nick of time. But now he will be downed, actually, by, I believe, an airstrike. And, well, let's hope that he won't be contested at this moment.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What?
Hello?
Oh.
Just shoot. Oh, he doesn't want to give away his position, does he? Hello?
Wait, no way. There is
Hello?
no way that player can't see him. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
there
God.
we go. That was,
I was so scared that
for-
Jay Whitty, our man, I was already thinking, hey, that's the position Jay Whitty was just in. We'll just let him get away. But luckily that means yet another kill, and that means that Jay Whitty's almost at 10 already. So that would be the mark we have set before. 11 players left with... Well, ring closing even further and further. A player spotted in the distance with the car now in hand for Piggy Tony. And oink, he's almost getting a kill.
A cracked there and can get some extra ammo here. Spots the SUV too, and he knows that this area is tense, that it is highly fought at. Piggy Tony might actually third party by the looks of it. He knows the fight is going down over here, spots the player, tags him. But now gas mask goes up and he sees him. Oh, Piggy Tony, where's your aim? But indeed, manages to get the frag and just dip by the player in a moment and now get back into the circle. And so we see Piggy Tony has to go for the cover of the building now, but he's in a very tense area. Although there are only 5 people left, now we see the players. They're all holding the circle. They're all holding the angles and making sure that they manage to frag out every possible player, even to the point of just dealing with the gas.
Well, the point of no return, Belminho doesn't have any armor plates remaining, so that makes him quite a soft target. I believe he's also the player we just saw getting correct with the Car 98 from the player, Piggy Tony, who's now standing right here with his flaming weapon. Well, he's now trying to hold off, had a very smart play, of course, with the gas mask, trying to wait for the players to move in towards the circle. Now that truck is also standing by, trying to maneuver, maybe having spotted Piggy Tony, but with only 5 players remaining, we know this match won't last all that long anymore.
Nope, we are getting into those final minutes, perhaps even. It will all depend on where that circle is going to go. And now we see that truck as well. All an interesting factor. Very curious to see how this is going to pan out. But now, oh no, Belminho You're going to have to move. This is a difficult position to be in. Will he have enough time to actually get out of the
I don't think
gas
so.
here? I'm not sure. Because by the time he's going to get up that ladder, he's going to be down. Oh, no, Belminho, no!
No!
Oh, this is terrible.
And there's a player right there. Just go for the kill, player. Yes, that's going to be another kill coming in. Actually, with an airstrike, and then there will be... I'm so happy right now. It's 1v1. Piggy Tony versus the player in the truck. Oh no, it's Capitan Charlie. Piggy Tony's already gone. Nate's coming in. Some more damage being dealt, but also the gas coming in onto Capitan Charlie. And he's spraying. He's going for it. It's going to be so hard for him to actually get the kill in. Of course, now the gas remaining. And he will be the last player setting in this Warzone victory for Capitan Charlie.
And well done, Capitan Charlie. Well played, and in the end, he takes it. He wins this one, and honestly, very, very well done. Very good to see, and very much props for playing this well. And that means that, you know, the first match is now actually concluded, and it is Capitan Charlie that plays well, that ends up on top, running, of course, the beautiful Trovo tag, because this was, I should say, the first match of the Trovo birthday bash.
Yeah, the Trovo Titans are really ramping up, and it was the first match, of course, being played out for 3,000 euros between our finalists who have qualified for this match. And I dare to say that Capitan Charlie has a very good shot that he might actually get the most money. There's also some money to be given away, or at least earned, rather than to be given away by the viewers as like yourself. If you join our Discord, of which the link is in the Trovo live chat, you can join the viewer game, which is up next. 1,000 euros will be up for grabs, and of course, the winner takes most. And I'm curious to see what the skill you will bring, and of course, what you can do. We'll go to a 10-minute break. When we're back, of course, we're ramping up, getting ready for that viewer game. So make sure you're joining right now, and we'll see you in just a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Trovo Titans, of course, Warzone finals. We've just seen our finalists playing in the first match, which will, of course, be a more normal point system. And later on, we'll actually have the last man standing, so that might be a little bit more of a campfest, a little bit more of a decision-making opportunity, whether you want to go for a fight or rather just wait and just chill with all your friends in the last circle for as long as you can be. Now we'll actually head in towards the viewer game. For those of you who have already joined up in our Discord and of course shown us that you are one of your Trovo fanatics, you'll be actually having a chance for the €1,000 prize pool, which will be divided between the players. And RJ, is there something crazy you might expect from these players?
I mean, I always expect crazy things from the players because they're a bit of an unknown factor. You never know what they might bring to the table, and I'm very interested to see how they might surprise us. They could come out with the sickest plays, you know, those long-range plays, or perhaps just the really smart close-range battles, you know, the situations wherein they know better how to play with that high-paced game and how they know how to deal with things. Right now, though, let's have a quick look at that format and see what's all up for grabs and how things are going to look and, well, how those players might just get the points.
Yeah, it's the same as we just had, of course, the map for Desk 84. Beautiful time to be alive, for as long as you can stay alive on this map, rather. It will be again Battle Royale solo, with placements and kills being awarded according to the point system. 2 points per kill, 20 points, of course, for the last man standing. The payouts for this match, however, will be slightly different, as there will be, of course, a smaller prize pool, as these players haven't qualified, just signed up. However, there will still be Titan points, 35 for the winner and some more for the rest of the players, and €350 in cash to be gained. So, I dare to say, even if you're a viewer, this is something to really join in and possibly get a little bit of a financial bonus for your small hour of work.
Absolutely, right? I mean, hey, can we even call this work, to be honest? You just have to play a game of Warzone. I think anyone can do that, really. But all you have to do is just be the best. Because, of course, if you end up on that #1 spot, there are some beautiful things up for grabs and just a delightful, lovely cash prize. That's all that, you know, you just have to get, right? I mean, that's all you want, I'd say. And just easy to spend and, well, who knows? Right now, buy some cryptocurrency because that's a whole other thing. Oh, lordy. But honestly, yeah, I'd say viewer games, they're definitely up there, and it is a solid chance to show yourselves. You know, if you've always wanted to chase that fame and show your skills on stream, then now's the chance.
Yeah, well, I think there will be some highlights coming in, some players hunting for the kills. I dare to say that there might have been someone around 10 kills. At least we saw one player get, I think, 8. It was Jay Whitty.
Yeah.
That was our big friend. He looked at someone just laying on the ground for way too long, which was a little bit gruesome, but well, it's just what people sometimes do nowadays. And I'm curious to see if we'll see more or less kills during this solo match. If there will be, of course, another jailbreak to bring everyone raining in. And then some players might just be standing by with a car to snipe them from the air. Is that something you've done before?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I have to say that I've never managed to, I think, shoot someone out of the air that was actually like hot dropping, you know, like zooming down. That's a little bit too tough for my level. You know, I'm not that good, but I've definitely shot people out of the air that was just parachuting. You know, having a chill time, taking their time to choose where they're going to land. And if you're lucky, then, and you can just line up your scope with their heads, well, then all you have to do is click, and they are gone.
Click, click, boom. It's the only way we actually go, RJ. Just go for those little bit of a snipey play. But we'll see if it will actually work out for some, or actually not at all. Sometimes we've actually seen in the previous match that certain players, just before they touch down, they actually already get shot at. So at least then you have a little bit of a safer option. People can't just throw away the parachute for a little moment, go dolphin diving towards the ground and just deploy it at the last moment in time. At least now you know they will be landing somewhere around there, and then go for the spray accordingly. Get your 2 points in, and then you'll go on towards the next. But we saw at least a little bit of a chaos. We saw that roadkill come down, RJ. So my day is already good.
Yeah, I have to say, that was incredibly satisfying to see. There's something about those road kills. I'm right now still holding out for that insane sniper shot, to be honest, where someone is just going to get the wildest shot with that Kar 98, as we'd expect. And yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll get that, or maybe we'll just see another road kill. Who knows? It's up in the air, and it's going to be just another exciting match, I think. It's also really going to depend on where that circle lands. I think that we've all dealt with it sometimes where the circle can get in the weirdest places. I've seen circles where half of them were in the sea, just at the start, which immediately forces a very, very high-tempo game. I don't know if you've dealt with that before, but there's nothing quite like just seeing a circle that's already a half, like into a part of the map where you just can't go.
Well, I think it's a good balancing act, because then you know that certain people that actually dropped inside the circle are probably golden, because they're already in like their bunker position. They know they can just stay there, hopefully have some decent loot or loadout just to pick up. But if you're outside of that, well, then you'll probably go for a vehicle relatively soon, but you'll probably still go for a little bit of a loot. But if you loot too long, more people would already be in the circle, which is already really small. So it's so many things that can either work or not work your way. So you're already contemplating, like, I should loot, but I shouldn't loot too long, but I should go, but I don't want to go right now. And then you're already too late. There's people standing by with a car, maybe an LMG, just to spray you down in a beautiful car you have. And you'll be gone.
Just gone, completely destroyed. Yeah. Indeed, it is true. Although I have to say, I always wonder those kind of people. Like, why do you want to wait so long for someone to appear? Why are you playing the long game like that? I understand that it's risky to leave your flank exposed and to perhaps let someone actually get behind you. But still, it requires quite some patience, doesn't it? To be able to wait that long and actually let a play, decide your pacing. And sometimes it's also risky. I think we've also seen it just now, how that circle can really, really be a pain. If that lands in the wrong place, you might even see someone die to the circle. And, well, that's just the worst. You never want to die to the circle. I've had it happen to me, obviously. I'm willing to admit that. I admit my mistakes. But good lord, does it suck? Nobody likes it, and it's you just feel so bad because you think, oh, I wasn't paying attention, and you just feel so silly.
Well, if you actually get hit and then you die to the circle, I think I can give you a free pass there. But if you just saw our player that was in that sewer area that figured, I'll just go and run right now, and the ladder, it's actually quite high. It's a little bit painful. At least he was down and got finished by a certain player, so it didn't really seem all that weird in the kill cam, but still, it really, really hurt. In about 4 minutes, we'll most likely join our viewer game and boot up whatever, well, whoop ass we can find, because there will be quite a lot coming down from the said players. The level might be higher, maybe lower, you don't know. These players, they didn't qualify. They were just there and were selected due to them signing up. RJ, we're going to see a lot of Kar 98. We just saw it before as well. But on the assault rifles, there's actually a little bit of a question, because you said, well, I do like the Kilo sometimes. We've seen the AK, which I prefer. Could we really say the meta is established?
It seems to be a little bit up in the air right now. There used to be this really clear FFAR dominates everything meta. That's kind of gone now. They've nerfed it, and they figured, as they said in the patch notes as well, it is too versatile. The aim down sight speed was too high, and they've just decided, okay, you know what, we have to change that meta. And right now as well, if you look at the statistics, you see the CR really popping up quite a lot. That seems to be the main one that's in use when it comes to assault rifles. And then it is still followed by the Kilo, but the CR is the one that we should normally be seeing the most. That one seems to be the most preferred, has the highest KD ratio as well, the average of 1.21, based off, of course, the statistics of WZ Ranked. And honestly, I think that it is the best one, the best all-rounder. But that AK for those, for example, mid to long-range assault rifle battles, I think it can be really strong. And that's down to, of course, the high damage, but the slow rate of fire, which actually keeps the higher recoil more controllable, I find.
Well, it's also a little bit of personal preference, right? If you, like me, try to go for just big headshots, want to really deal the damage, then a little bit of a more damage output is really good. And then maybe if there's a slower rate of fire, maybe a little bit of more recoil, you usually think you can manage it. You most likely can't, but you think you can manage it. But like, if you get into a position where, of course, you will be on close range, maybe a higher rate of fire if you don't like to use an SMG, which it seems to be not really as common as, well, the Mac 10 is quite high pick rate. I think you could still go for a different.
Yeah, I think SMG-wise, it's a shame, really, because they can offer for really dynamic plays. The PPSH was also really part of the meta at one point, but it seems like that one is also kind of missing nowadays. And we kind of see that LC10 and the Mac 10, they do pop up, but more and, well, as always has been the standard, people go for that sniper plus AR combo. That is the one that they feel comfortable with, and that is the one that they like playing with the most. And I do understand it, it's a lot of close and mid-range power combined with a very strong long-range weapon, and it just makes sense. And the SMG, you're giving up on that range and on that damage purely for a higher rate of fire and better controllable recoil. And you have to ask yourself, is it worth that sacrifice? Do you want to really give in that much and not just deal with the AR, which sometimes can still have really high rates of fire and just way more damage, basically? It also depends on how you load up those attachments, Are you going to spec for really fast aim down sight speed and just really high rate of fire so that you can just completely whittle down an enemy in no time? Or are you going to go for a controlled and controllable weapon where the recoil is very manageable, but you always know, that you're going to hit those shots and you're not going to struggle at close range?
Yeah, well, for me, the most interesting thing is that on the AR side of things, there's still so much difference among people. Some people like, as you said, or at least a lot of people like the CR, but a lot of people also like the Kilo. There's so much more diversity in the pick rates of the ARs, rather than, of course, as we said, the sniper. The next one is on number 18 with less than 10% of the pick rate of your beloved Car 98. So I think maybe there should be a little bit of a more balancing act, that there might be more options, possibly more suited to certain playstyles, because now it's just one car to rule them all, and the rest is just out there. People don't really like it, but let's get into Worst That Viewer game. 1,000 euros up for grabs for our viewers that have signed up, and let's see who will be the Trovo Titan of that viewer game, and of course our beautiful birthday bash. And what's your biggest birthday wish, RJ?
Oh, my biggest birthday wish? I have to say I got a good one this year. I was very happy with my birthday gift. Yep. Shout out to my girlfriend, obviously, has to be said. But now, you know what? I think the biggest birthday wish could just be seeing someone here end up on top that really deserves it. I want to see those insane plays, and I want to see a player end up on top that just knows and that can prove that he deserves, the #1 spot in that prize pool. And, if you can get those kind of insane shots like this player does, like Jakey does, then maybe it just is deserved. But this is just the warm-up. Sadly here, the only thing that those shots count for is weapon experience, mainly.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of ego, that's how I would roll it. I'm really curious to see what kind of weapons he'll be running, and of course which weapons he will come across. And it's going to be yet another invasion of the choppers. RJ, what's your favorite chopper of all time?
My favorite chopper of all time? Well, not the motorbike. I'll go for a Black Hole because that, or an Apache attack helicopter. Actually, I think that might actually be the one. Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
I actually had a talk with a Apache mechanic the other day, and I asked him, like, if you'd be able to get a different job, what job would it be? He's like, I actually never thought about this. I love my job too much because I work with deadly helicopter machines, which are like cars, but then very lethal and more sophisticated. Like, okay, so they're not like cars at all. Well, there's wheels underneath, he said, and well, sure, that's true. Well, let's see where Jakey will try to go for a drop, as he's got his Primärwaffe und Sekundärwaffe. I try to use my best German.
Yes,
And he's,
the best German. No,
I'm
indeed,
trying
indeed.
to make it work.
I think you're doing a solid job. Oh, we see those air battles here. Yep, this happens quite often. If you know that someone's close to you, it is always worth getting their armor nicked down. That can make a critical difference in the end. Jakey seems to have marked up that train, but it doesn't look like he's going for it. It is far too, far away, and it's not worth the risk. Going here for, the lumber area, and hoping to find something good there. And this is, by the way, when we looked at that circle just now, this is actually the type of circle that I was talking about, Half of the circle is in the mountain range, where, theoretically, you could go there, you could walk to it, but the game is going to yell at you because you're outside of the battle zone.
Hey friend, stop, come back! As Jakey was luckily able to find another armor plate, so at least has one right now, after being chunked down a little bit early. Can't really get in towards that shed, but it seems like a beautiful shed to live in. As we now see Jakey just moving across already, finding 2 ARs, a few boxes, and now he's actually doubting, oh, should I go for the M60? Well, it's a classic staple American rifle, so why wouldn't you?
Yes, absolutely right. But he's at least sticking to the M4 for now, by the looks of things, and really just claiming out this promenade area, I should more say, to kind of circle around the left side and maybe then work his way up towards lumber. But for now, playing it slow, playing it tactical, refilling his ammo, and making sure that he has plenty of stuff to work with, as he seems to have spotted out a player here somewhere, perhaps in the vicinity. He's at least looking. He seems to be wary that there might just be someone nearby. He wants to get that frag. Could just be one of the first in this viewer game that we get to see.
Well, Jakey is looking. Currently only 49 players alive, and will actually try to go for a replay with the Ducker Man. He's spraying. He's eventually finding someone with his 1911, which was a little bit sloppy, but it works in the end. We'll go back to Jakey. At the moment in time, he still hasn't found his opponent, but I believe he already threw out a Molotov. So he's looking. He's expecting the player to be underneath the building, possibly, which of course you can sneak and prone around. That's always a little bit of an awkward hiding spot because you can't really move that quick, but you might have a interesting angle as Jakey. He sees a lot of bullets fly by, and he doesn't really have spare armor plates, so he might actually want to go for a little bit of a loot there, as the sigh of not really relief, but annoyance comes out.
Mich der Spieler dahinter ab, ey.
Yes, indeed. Understandably so, perhaps, right? Just the annoyed, good lord, didn't I get that frag? And we did see the thermite that was already placed down, but it looks like he didn't get anything out of it. In the meantime, some players do seem to be going down, but yeah, right now for Jakey, not a lot of success so far. Looking around here, if I'm not mistaken, there is a bunk here, but, well, there used to be a bunk here. I'm actually not absolutely certain if they are still here in the 84 version of the map. I don't believe so, but I remember back in one of the previous seasons, there was a bunker back there that you could access with one of the key cards. In the meantime, Millet, of course, he figured, well, if I participate in those first games, I might as well just participate in the viewer games. And looking at him, he is in a more contested area, I dare say, in the vicinity of that industry, and of course in the vicinity of downtown, to see if there might be anyone close by that he could go for a frag. He's already gotten one so far, so why not get more?
Making my way downtown, walking fast, and then I don't know the rest of the lyrics. I think something homebound. Actually picks up at a Mac-10, and he's trying to move sneakily through all the doors. Millet be the man, the myth, the legend, but so far not really finding too many players to frag. Currently has one under his belt, with 47 players still standing. And, well, currently he's just looking for some extra loot, trying to possibly get some different weapons himself. And he's still not really sure what to take, but now we'll actually go for a different pick. It seems like there might be a little bit of a chase on someone, but our streamer of today doesn't really want to commit.
No, indeed, right? His bounty is red hot, and that means that someone is close, and he didn't manage to get the bounty that he was going for himself. Now, in the meantime, Altone rocking that PPSH, but not finding too much so far. Though spots the truck now, and that's driving away. Gives him a hint that there's someone close by, and it looks like he might just be feeling a bit, well, finicky, feeling a bit fraggy. Oh, spots a player down. Are we going to see this battle happen? He grabs the shotgun even, and then he decides, I'm going to fall back. I'm going to approach this differently, perhaps. Although that would be a very bold move. He could go looking for a more long-range weapon. Never mind. Eliminated. Someone with a Japanese name that I sadly cannot pronounce. Just completely destroyed him there. I have to be dead honest. The sniper, it is relentless. And Docker now spots that truck to his right. Oh, it looks like they're scurrying away from each other. Yep.
Now, but like, the awkward thing was, our player that we just spectated, I've already forgotten his name because I'm a silly boy, he was looking at the other player, it's like, oh, I could walk up with a shotgun. But the moment he figured out, he's like, wait, that player's actually looking for someone else, so then I'll kill that guy, but then there will be yet another guy, so I shouldn't do that. And he was smart enough to move away. And now, well, he was sniped from the back as he was moving out in the open, as, well, the car goes boom. And now it's going to be Docker just jumping around on the train, which has already been looted, and now his armor is cracked. He's low on HP. Just a single shot might actually be able to do him. Now, of course, he has more than enough armor plates, has a little bit of a hitching ride, and he sees a player. He actually gets hit from the side as well. So many players trying to find out where Docker is and trying to take him down. Riot Shield, baby, let's go. And now it's still going to be him, just grabbing some more armor. And with 2 kills already under his belt, he seems to be alive.
Indeed, playing it very defensive, and I suppose that the Riot Shield is perfect for that. Although Docker has managed to get 2 kills so far, so he's not doing all too shabby. Going for a little train ride, and now throws the thermite, but doesn't quite succeed, doesn't hit. Now though, going prone, and he knows that the player has gone out of the SUV, now decides to go back into it, and Docker is laying down the fire, laying down the bullets. But doesn't really get a frag out of it, just some damage as he now runs to the loadout drop. And of course, that is a solid call. Calling a UAV on it. Now he should be able to go for that double loadout, rock the overkill plus ghost, so that way he will not give away his position.
Yeah, he decides to pick up the Riot Shield once more, as it's now his precious. And he's looking to at least stay alive with that a little bit longer. And if you're hitching a ride on the train, it seems to be a save option. Here we have Smirch, who's already got a single kill and is now doing a race with the trucks. He's saying, I can take you out, brother. I'm just faster than you, just short shifting into the next gear, and he's trying to also take the shortcut right around the corner here. Oh boy, this is quite a race we have right here on Daytona. Oh no, that's a different thing maybe. Now moves in with, of course, shotgun in hand, trying to get the upper hand, because it is over, I have the high ground, and he's trying to pick up a bounty.
Indeed. Yeah, shotgun won't be too good for a long-range battle, but he'll have to make do, as he even grabs a mission there, gets the bounty, and it is his task to eliminate its killer. And now jumps down, goes back onto the truck, and before we know it, he's back in it, ready to truck along, but no longer part of the convoy.
Aww. Must be heard from the inside, now also ignoring the speed limit. There will now be something popping up as we see him now trying to go for the bounty quite quickly. And RJ explained to those who possibly don't know it.
Indeed, a fire sale, of course, gives you the opportunity to get a lot of items at a big discount, or some even for free. I believe your self-revive kit, for example, is only going to run you 1,000, something in that ballpark. And it just means massively reduced. But Smirch, he spots the player. Now he's going for the squish. But this
reverse
is
into him.
He's reverse it around. Oh my lord, no, he gets shot out. And sadly for him, he won't be participating in that fire sale. But that truck is going to explode soon enough, I believe. So the player should watch out. Looks like Docker isn't going to risk the fire sale either, but he manages to down and eliminate. And now he gets his third frag in.
Well, that's the scary part. If you go for a fire sale, you're most likely going to face, or at least find, some people around. Because, well, why wouldn't they be around at a certain moment? Still, there's a buy store here, though, so Docker might actually get some good stuff. As he's now also putting out some kill streak bonuses already. And, well, he's just gonna push out everything, because why wouldn't you spend your money? Just make it rain, as the normal people say. Might actually have a hunch that they're...
Triple UAV here. Triple UAV is going to give him a chance to see exactly where players are and how they are positioned. It's a very strong call, and it's a very smart move now that the fire sale is there. And so we'll see if he's going to use that intel. Oh, I wish that he'd open up his map so we could get that pretty sight, see where everyone is located. As you can see in the edge of his minimap, you can see the players and their positional locations. So you can see exactly which way they're even facing. And that is the strength of the triple UAV. That's one usually called, of course, when you're playing squads. You tell everyone, buy UAV. And then before you know it, you can exactly pinpoint everyone's location.
And then you can pound them as well, as you dare to say. Melee B, who's also our Bay, is now walking up with the Car 98. He's just a little bit hesitant, however, as he might be expecting a certain player to be around, but the gas is already moving in towards this position, so he'll still have to keep a little bit of a move on. As he's now trying to do a little bit of twerk battle, he's finding some more gear which he might be eager to pick up. And, well, the gas closer and closer, and Docker still trying to look for his fourth kill of this match. Well, there in the tower, he gets it correct down, and that's a very, very good long-range shot, as you were hoping for, RJ.
Absolutely. Cracked, but sadly not killed. We'll see what Docker is going to do to actually get that frag in. Problem is, of course, in that, airport control tower, the player isn't going to be too risky. The player isn't going to say, oh yeah, no, I'm totally going to keep peeking that because, you know, I'm wild. But we see another UAV call coming in from Docker now. That also gives him the knowledge of what to pay attention to, where the other players might be. And if there's someone close to him, of course, that is perhaps the most important thing altogether. Now we'll see Docker here just playing around that buy station, and I don't think he's going to run out of items anytime soon. Spots the head, but does not really get the hit as he falls back, and he keeps struggling, keeps reloading as well. Because, of course, as I just said, there are so many items on the ground there. I believe 2 corpses, even well, 2 leftovers from players that have been killed. And Docker with that getting a strong position, also now having to move towards the circle though, seeing as that is tightening up, and that also means that we'll be seeing that action soon enough. We'll be seeing players running up to each other and starting to battle it out.
Yeah, this time no jailbreak, but only 26 players alive, as the triple kill from Docker already came out, and with 3 kills in a non-jailbreak situation, we dare to say, he might actually already have a very good chance at being one of the top fraggers. Because now people like Jay Whitty won't get a second chance. There might now be people actually only getting 2 before they get fragged out, just traded by a certain player. It's going to be Docker also looking for a bounty himself, as he's being hunted. And, well, that might, of course, make him a little bit scared going into a new area, really knowing where your, well, trail counterpart is coming from. But as he has that beautiful shield, how could he actually be worried, RJ?
Indeed, nothing to worry about, just like its killer is not
it a
worried.
Double kill? Because he downed one, killed
a double
one.
Kill. But why did he not eliminate the enemy, though? Oh,
just
the
to
enemy
see if there might be
downed
someone else?
Yep, indeed. He's not risking it, and obviously the enemy knows it's not worth self-reviving. I'm just waiting for its killer to just finish this off now. Precision airstrike in hand, and now the frag comes through. The second, it seems, and 4 so far. Its killer clearly in a strong position, playing well. Gets an upgrade to a gas mask too. And that allows him to play strong, whilst in the meantime, Docker has apparently gotten his own 4th kill as well. Now spots the truck, and oh, that static position would have meant for a moment that he could have gotten a chance for a frag, but the player has exited the truck. Now Docker is looking once again, because he is greedy for those kills. He wants to get them, understandably
Yeah, he
so.
already got a 4th kill. He actually cleared out a player on top of this house.
Indeed, but it does mean that it's risky, and I believe that it is actually this player on the other side. Willie Vodka, it seems. Just Willie.
No, it's Jay Whitty, man. Come on, the man with the legend.
Oh, wow. I am completely... Yep, indeed. Jay Whitty, the one and only. 1 kill, though, so far. So he is facing off against tougher competition when we see him. Oh, and this is clever. Putting the truck on the edge. Gets the cracked armor, but... he tries, does not immediately succeed.
Bare
Now
ikke bli
decides to push
confident
towards with the
uansett.
truck.
Plutselig står den der og...
Might even rotate this around. Ooh, go for a cheeky flank even. Oh, this is tense. This is exciting.
Aldri en grunn til å bli...
Could come down to that close range AR battle. He's got the ASVAL in hands. Strong, well, subsonic ammo, of course. Used to it from the VSS, no less. Now Docker's actually spotted another player there in the meantime. It's a tense situation that Docker finds himself in. But with 4 kills so far, he should definitely be able to prove himself.
He's looking for more players as he has another UAV being popped. I think he's a collector, I dare to say. And still having that shield, but the moment he might actually find Jay Whitty to be on close range, that shield might not be working out too well. Jay Whitty, I believe, was on top of him, and well, there comes a shot as he will actually be slightly stunned down. Stuns coming down, more nades flying in, and Docker losing more and more armor. Trying to pack up some more panels as he's now looking for maybe a replacement of his shield to actually have a fighting chance, or rather than a sniper. Another truck comes in, as there's only 23 people alive. They all seem to be converging on this position of Docker, who has quite a few cars around him, as he's one leaving his area.
Indeed, and now we see him pop the dead silence as well. Look at all these battles. A crack comes in too. But the dead silence is expired. That was a very solid hit. Downs the player, but the player has natural cover, and he's going to get run over. Oh, no, never mind. No, he's not. I thought for a moment that he was going to get run over, but that player might just mean that he can pop the self-revive, and that he could become a Thor stick. And indeed, look at Docker, the madman. The player jumps for intel, and Docker immediately eliminates him. The 5th frag coming in. And now Docker's still in a very tough position. Look at all these cars converging. Look at how close this is. Of course, the circle is tightening up. And that means that players will be running into each other more and more now.
Yeah, but I'm not sure why he would jump again there behind that rock, because he already did it before, and there was already a down on towards him the last time he jumped. So you dare to say some people learn from their mistakes, but some actually don't. Now we have Docker also actually changing out to an SMG, as its killer 17 is still standing by, showing a little bit of his green laser because it's fashion, baby. And he's waiting for a player to peek, as the Melee B is also still alive, as he's moving in towards the circle. A little bit scared that someone will be jumping out of a garage anytime soon, and he might be a little bit fragged out. Currently on 2 kills, not too bad, not too great either. And he's biding his time, sneaking in, hoping someone will make a little bit too much noise, and he'll be able to make do with, of course, that noise into a kill.
Indeed. And always so important, those audio cues as well. Always important to hear and listen to know when there might be someone close. But speaking of things being close, the circle is closing in as well.
6?
And now we take a look back at Duck. He might just be on top of everyone right now. 6 frags so far, and seemingly with, well, I would say the world at his feet, but it seems more like the world is behind him. He's playing from outer space. Now we're going to open that supply box. And he's looking around. It could be anything in this, but the heartbeat sensor is not giving anyone away right now. Unless that they're on the other side. Oh, Akimbo Suro. Oh, okay. Okay. Right, this is clearly someone who's nostalgic for the olden days. The Akimbo pistols used to be the best play. But now, right, oh, this is very strong. Look at his position. He's right in the circle. People are going to have to cross so much distance.
Yeah, and he has such a great house to be in as well, because there's multiple angles he can hold, but he can also just wait for a longer time. Meanwhile, it's Killer who's jumping around trying to fake out, and, well, certainly can't find someone. But there will be someone there, and that might actually be Docker looking at the shield on his back, because that's the Docker play in style. Both players actually losing their armor, and Killer, of course, now putting in more panels, as he has the MP5 rather than the Mac-10. Holding a extended angle as he moves in. He gets a thermite on his face. He gets the kill. He's also burning up.
Oh, no.
He'll go down, but most likely will be able to self-revive, because he does most likely still has it. And that means he'll stay alive. Maybe he just loots up a little bit from his opponent. And he's also in the circle. So his position isn't too bad either. He just needs to be a little bit worried that he might be pushed in by someone.
I believe that he's still got an okay position right now because he managed to clear it out by fragging, of course, Docker. By killing him, he has secured his position in the map right now, but there were quite a few people in this area, so it could very much be contested, although it seems like it's Killer. He's feeling a little bit more confident now. His 5th frag so far. He's close to a buy station as well. That could, of course, also attract players on the other hand. He doesn't have a lot of money to buy with. As a matter of fact, there is nothing that he can buy with this cash amount. So the buy station won't be something for him at least. But we'll see him now pushing through. Precision airstrike in hand. Look at all these, well, remains. Look at all these players that have been murdered right in this area. Loadout drop close now, and it's Killer going for some slight high ground. Wants to peek through a window to see if he can spot out anyone who might just be running into the circle at the end. And indeed, it is the player in the SUV, and there's another player that crossed him just right there, I believe. In the meantime, Melee gets another frag, 4th for him, and so whittles down the player count to 9. We are in the top 10 right now, and everything can be decided here. Those critical last few frags might just fly through, and it's the moment to see who might end up on top. Melee playing it slowly, playing it close, I should say. And, well, he is relatively far from that circle. He has a bit of a distance to cross, and the problem is that he has so many angles to check. He does have a heartbeat sensor. That is very fortunate for him. But he's still such a way ahead. And look, we can see this is the area that It's Killer just crossed through. But, of course, this might be a fortunate thing for Melee because he should be able to read, okay, It's Killer is ahead of me now. He passed through here recently, but it's all a gamble. He's got to play with guessing work, and now Duck ends up spotting the player. Where's that utility? Oh, and indeed has to stack some armor plates, get those back in. He does have 2 Semtex grenades himself. Those would be highly convenient right now.
But Melee, he's really close as well, because we know he was almost at his position as well. Now a truck moves in just around the corner as well. Duke will be stunned up and takes his akimbo just to slow walk in. It's what the cool guys do, you know? Now goes for a play, gets a crack and a down and a kill as well. But however, he gets down himself. And of course, you will be bleeding out. Goes for the self-revive straight away. But there will be a finisher coming down from Alexa. Meaning that after, I believe, 7 kills there for Duke, he will be ending on the 7th place. So he'll still get some points awarded for that. And maybe with his kills, he might be in the top 5 anyway. Now also 5 kills for It's Killer, who's still standing on top. Who was actually challenged by Duke just a little bit before, as you saw. But with his Semtex being thrown downstairs, it seemed like a very good shy away. But we have to say, with the heart coming down from It's Killer, love you long time as well. He's still out of the ring, and with the gas soon to close out, he might be in a very awkward position as well.
And he's got that precision airstrike in hands now. He's looking around, and that could be very strong late in game, because the thing is, with the circle narrowing down, he spots the player. Oh, the shield! Look at the shield place. He's got to go for the high ground. And of course, the shield player is just going to focus him. But the thermite might be perfect here, actually. If you can burn the shield player, you can force him down, force him into the unknown, and indeed spots, or well, throws that flash grenade now. Now the thermite might actually force back that player. He's on fire, and indeed, there he goes. Masterful utility play to get the frag. But now in the zone, he gets thrown out, and oh dear, this is painful. He's going for, well, not the self-revive. He can't He doesn't have it in hands, I believe. Now the gas mask is going to go down. He goes for it, but the problem is that his gas mask gives out, and he's stacking those armor plates. He is right inside the zone. This is a very, very strong play. Precision airstrike could be critical now. Only 4 people left, and it's Killers. This is the moment, indeed. He calls it down, but will it hit anyone? And indeed, there's another player. It's Killer goes down, and indeed, that leaves only Melee. He has to stack armor now, but he's in such a tough position. Precision airstrike coming in. Gas mask is clutch. It's down to a 1v1. Only Melee left and one other player. And we see him hunting. He is circling around. He is trying to check every corner, every edge. And now, wherever could it be? Wherever could this player be? As we see the zone tightening up. And indeed, there's no chance. They are going to be pushed close to each other. And they're delaying. Melee knows this player has got to be close. And he knows that he is waiting. He's patrolling those edges. And that player could be anywhere. Spots him out, but it is actually indeed. And that is the winner. It is Plaxa with the Akimbo M19s. And so he gets the win. He is the winner of the viewer games. Some lovely Titan points and a very, very nice cash prize.
Oh, that's gonna be such a tilter for Melee. He was in such a good position, heard the player come by, went for the shots, but, well, really bugged up his spray. He was, however, maybe one of the more influential players in this match. He was actually unable to actually get a ring spawn on him every time. He was actually having to move quite a lot of times as well. And he was able to make it in towards the second place, get some decent kills in from himself as well in that later stages. So I dare to say he's done really, really well. So Melee might be my MVP, despite Plaxa, of course, getting a very good flick in the end. And of course, let's also have a little bit of a look back at the match 1 results. It was for 3,000 euros for our finalists of our qualifiers. And the winner from there was, of course, Capitan Charlie, who also had quite some kills to come in, and a grand total of 34 points, as well as Bo had that, but with Captain Charlie also getting the last remaining spot. He'll, of course, be on that top ladder. And actually, Jay Whitty, he got 8 for 8. And I'm really liking that satisfying area.
Indeed, 8 for 8, and Capitan Charlie, who ends up being the best, followed closely by Boatat and Smirch. And honestly, you know, it does show we've got a lot of strong players in here, and now it is all going to come down to that final match, of course. That is going to be a winner-takes-all situation, and I'm very curious to see how these players end up doing over there.
Well, it almost seemed a little bit like we just had before in the end of the viewer game with Plaxa and Melee B, both sitting on a little bit of different angle, waiting for that ring to close in. A lot of players converging right there, and it seemed to be like a winner takes all, where Plaxa was the eventual victor and might have actually also had the most points to get a little bit of that viewer game money. We'll go back to another 10-minute break. When we're returning, we'll go to the last match of tonight, and we hope to have it as a banger. We'll see you in just a bit. ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Trovo Titans Warzone Finals. We're actually heading also into our final match of tonight, meaning it will be the finalists once more, facing off against each other, and this time in a winner takes all. It's gonna be grueling, it's gonna be scary, and it's gonna be maybe a little bit more campy, less fraggy, because this time you don't get points for frags. No! You also don't get any points for surviving. No! You just need to survive as the longest, eventually possibly getting the last kill, as we're expecting the other counterpart not to die to the gas. And then you'll be golden, you'll get some decent money. RJ, what would your strat be going in towards a situation like this?
Well, this is a difficult one. It's a beautiful winner-takes-all tournament where €1,000 is up for grabs for the one person who manages to make it out of the Warzone alive. And, well, obviously this leans to more safer playstyles. We all know, of course, that this time round, like you said, those kills don't really matter all that much. So I expect players to be far more defensive. See them hugging the circle far more tightly. See perhaps someone playing a recon strat, deciding to go for the recon missions early on so that they can be quick and will quite swiftly know where the circle is going to end up. That way, they can already move to the circle early and actually, get a really strong position going and just wait it out. It might be boring, but let's be honest. Waiting about 40 minutes for €1,000 as a prize? I think I'd do the same.
It's a pretty decent payout for just an hour of work, I'm there to say. Just trying to grind out, waiting, biding our time, indeed. That seems like a very good strat. Maybe also going for the play we saw from Docker, getting as many UAVs as you possibly can, just to make sure that you know exactly where players are, how they are moving. And maybe with that you might get a clear pathway into the next circle, if you of course know where it would be. Maybe you could also get a more decent position, get a flank in, but it also might actually possibly influence the weapon choice of people, or at least the loadout choice. Maybe we'll see even more skills in this match, as players are most likely more prone to survive and maybe get away from a fight rather than going full on towards it. Maybe also, if there's some very high buildings along, players will try to get on top of that and just love life in the high grounds in their penthouse as they might have.
Indeed, that is the question, really. It all depends on the circle as well, and that is the luxury that players have. Of course, once they call in that loadout drop, they can actually decide which of their loadouts seems to be the most fitting. Obviously, if things move away from downtown, you're going to be away from those high-rises, but for example, near Lumber, or perhaps even Prison, really, there are still quite a lot of long-range battles that you can fight out. So I think that a sniper, for example, will almost always prove useful in the end. And that we can still expect to see that, Car 98, obviously, because what else, to be showing up now. But on the other hand, perhaps someone is going to go for that AR plus SMG combo, or perhaps the AR plus LMG combo, as we saw one player run with earlier. I think that those are all very legitimate options, but it will all be dependent on how people are going to play, really, what they feel like, how that circle is going to be. It always decides so much, and well, I'm also really curious to see how that's all going to pan out, because we've earlier, especially in the viewer game just now, we saw a circle that was already halfway in a part of the map where people couldn't even go. And this forces people closer together earlier. So I'm banking / hoping, for people playing then, that is, that they won't get a circle where they will be forced together quite early, because that does mean for them that they have less time, less strategies to play out, and, well, less, flexibility to move with. But I'm really curious to see if anyone's going to go for that recon tactic that I just mentioned. I think that is actually a legitimate strategy, but they do expose themselves, obviously. Every time that you go for a recon mission and, you go to your spot to wait it out, a beautiful yellow flare shoots up that the enemies will all be able to see from far away. So it's a risk that they would be taking if they do go for that strategy.
Well, sometimes you just have to say flare up and go for it in the end. But it's going to be quite risky indeed. As you said, the ring will be quite commanding on what loadouts will be picked. If we go for a more, building-focused area, we'll most likely see more, of course, that SMG and AR combo. Possibly a riot shield to come in. which was actually quite favored by certain players. If we go for more a hillside area, maybe also more closer to the airfield, I'd expect indeed a Kar 98 to be quite a favorable pickup. Together with then most likely an SMG if you expect some close range fights to come in, but also an AR if you expect it to go a little bit medium and want to finish someone off. You've already hit it with the Kar 98 before. RJ, what kind of ring position would you now really like to see? Would it again be one of those already choked out rings where you have half of it in towards the sea? Or would you say, I'll just like to see how people actually go about it if it's just a full circle at the start?
It's a difficult one, really, because obviously, well, the circle decides everything in this game, and I think part of me actually really would like to see a prison circle. But that's just because I like the area. You know, I like the area around prison. It's absolutely, and it's interesting to see people toy with that height difference as well, right? You've got a lot of towers on the prison wall, and the prison wall itself is also still a heightened piece of ground. And then you've got the inner court of the prison. I think that one could be really interesting. But at the same time, you know, a prison circle would also mean that things are already decided quite early, because usually when it ends up around there, you still see a part of the circle in the sea, and people quite swiftly catch on to what, you know, what's going to happen, what they have to do, where they have to go. So I know perhaps that I'd like one more in the center, see those battles go down around perhaps downtown, or maybe one in the vicinity of Boneyard. We haven't seen that yet so far, so maybe one all the way on the left side, and to see how that all pans out, you know, fights around hills around the promenade east and west, and see how people duke it out over there. That could also be really interesting, I think.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the primary rifles, which were actually used quite often, but the Strela P and Origin 12 are the least used, as our comedian says, which is quite interesting to say, because, well, we often overlook which weapons are completely out of the meta, because people actually forget they even exist, and if they see them on the ground, they're like, oh, don't want that around, and they'll just walk across and look for something else, or just keep whatever they can find. The Seekov is the most used secondary weapon. What is your explanation for it? Is it just being akimbo being better, or is it something else?
I think it's just the combination of putting it in akimbo, and the Seekov, I believe, has high damage, but don't quote me on that. I will fully admit that I'm a little bit unsure about that one. And, well, secondary weapons, you know, I don't see them used all that much. I'm used to that standard, you know, double primary loadout, you know, by use of overkill, and that seems to me to be the most powerful. Although I gotta admit, right, we saw two players running that akimbo loadout, one with M19s and one with, I thought it was the Seekov or it was one of the other pistols. And that did work for them really well, because it does give you high rate of fire and still surprisingly high damage. Even though that they are pistols, they can still really pack a punch. So it's interesting to see how that always pans out. And also interesting to see what playstyle and what weapons players like the best, quite frankly. You know, sometimes players are just really happy to be rolling with what they like, and they don't really care about the meta. The meta is overrated, you know, who cares about the fact that perhaps, you know, the CR has that highest KD ratio. It's fine, you know, just give me my akimbo pistols and I'll manage perfectly. That's definitely something to keep in mind, and I think the question is just really, what is your preference versus what is the meta? And the meta changes so often too, you know. Wouldn't it be better to focus on one particular weapon and just always know how to play that one perfectly? Because, well, the meta, you know, a season ago or a month ago, it was an M16 and an FFAR. Now it's completely changed up. So it changes so often. Why not focus on one weapon, or, well, two weapons in particular?
Well, as you say as well, it's going to be quite difficult for the makers of the game to, of course, also balance out those pistols. Because if you don't really give pistols a little bit of extra damage where they would in real life not really work that well, they get overlooked, they get forgotten. So the Seekov, of course, really needs a lot of damage, or at least a high fire rate, to make it work, and then they can actually be part of the meta. Here we have the game format. This is actually the wrong one, because it's still on the point system. It's the one we have used before, of course, with the viewer game. And the first finalist match with, of course, the point system in place. There we had Capitan Charlie with the first one, but this time we have a little bit of a different format going in towards Game 3. It's going to be the last man setting, €1,000 for the winner and 100 Titan points. And those Titan points, of course, are really, really interesting, because if you partake on more of the Trovo Titan tournaments and just, of course, also follow or join the Discord, make sure that you also keep track of all the other options to get Trovo Titan points. You might actually be able to get a decent chunk of money and prizes later on in the year. So I figure this might be a good start for that one player. There will be the one man left standing.
The only one, the solitary one, we could even say, you know, that one person that ends up being the best of them all. And that is going to be the question in this final and third match. The winner takes all match. And, you know, it's a beautiful prize up for grabs. €1,000 combined with 100 Titan points. I mean, let's be real. I'm very interested to see how all these players are going to actually duke it out and how they are going to make sure that those Titan points and that cash prize ends up in their hands, because they sure have a lot of potential tactics to play. But it might just be getting time to actually see how that's all going to pan out. It might just be getting time to get into it soon enough.
And Game 3 is about to start. That means we'll go to Verdansk 84 once more. A beautiful time to battle it out and to see how the train will still be going on. Choo-choo, as Docker said before. He was unable to get the win in the end, but he was able to get some kills in. So he probably has some points, some money, something to work with. But one thing I really am curious about, was it Planska doing well in just one match? Or will he be able to also be in the finals? Because he was so good. If you win one, why wouldn't you be in another one? And of course we had Melee B, the man to get second in the end, as he unfortunately choked out the 1v1. And of course is now, of course, instantly on our screen. Just a little bit of a cheeky warm-up. Now his aim is on point. Maybe he has gone for a little bit of a walk just to make sure he's revitalized and ready to win once and for all. And of course also the big bucks.
Absolutely. You know, the warm-up always decides so much, but he runs out of ammo. And but it looks a bit Melee actually playing with a controller, if I saw the buttons right there, which is an interesting call, but whatever works. For a moment, we saw the street sweeper in the top right corner. May it forever rest in our hearts, because obviously they removed that weapon from the main loot table after it was decided that the street sweeper led to a dynamic that was quite not as pleasant as it might be for some players. Now, the circle is seemingly, actually, potentially focused towards prison, but it all depends. It is definitely on the right side of the map, that's for sure. We see salt mine at the top, TV station, stadium. There's a lot of potential positions for the players to go to here. I'm really curious to see where this final circle might just end up.
Where do I jump? Where do I jump?
Melee is also doubting, should I go outside of the circle? It seems more likely for him, as he figures there's more than enough vehicles and more than enough time to get back into it. And there's still a lot of people left on the choppers rather than the plane in, of course, this beautiful map. A lot of people actually not opting to go for that initial fight, actually trying to go for a safer loot position. But more people actually figure to go for the same option. Well, the more chances you are of actually finding another player. Now we'll actually see our big friend Melee B go for the scavenger and actually have his own little compound for which he can loot. Oh no, he's not actually the sole player, because there's going to be someone else diving in. That's always a little bit painful, isn't it, RJ?
He's going there as well. What, bro?
Oh, just a tad. And Melee immediately feels the pressure as well by the way that he says it, you know. He's got that scavenger marked, means that he does just want to play for not only the cash bonus. Oh, it's gone. He is in a tough position.
As well. Oh, he's actually going for that one as well. Oh no!
Yes, scavenger's gone. And that is very tough, because that scavenger would have meant for him potentially an easy upgrade for an armor satchel, and now he realized that he is in a very contested area, and now he's going to have to make the best out of it as he plays around, and he figures, oh well, I'll upgrade that pistol, but ideally there is so much more that he wants, but we'll see what he does. We'll see how he pans it out, because right now, well, he knows that he's going to run into that player soon enough. He's picking up some decent cash. That's definitely not all that bad, but
another Bundesliga top,
you can kind of feel that it's not ideal. You can kind of feel that the pressure is on him right now to perform and
Nice. Kicking
for
off
him
over
to
here
find
already.
this player soon enough.
Well, some shots from atop the hill as he's looking to go away from that position. Possibly pick up the scraps of a player that's already tagged. Wants to sneak through this door. Seems it's not really contested, not really looted. So he'll just go for a little bit of shotgun for that close range just to make sure he has a chance when the player
Freebie,
does
isn't it,
come
Chief?
around. Also with an LMG just to make sure that he could actually make that work. In case there's still a little bit of a longer range area. Picks up the bounty to have some intel on where
There's literally no
Mr.
point going for
Josh
kills, though, is there?
10 would be. Well, we know it, Josh, ourselves. So he's
I
going
need
to,
Ghost.
at least for now, wait. Bide
Ghost
his
is a
time.
must.
Maybe find that player that was being
They're
shot at
popping
because,
UAVs like
well,
left, right, and
he's
centre, man.
possibly still a little bit baffled. Possibly still a little bit lessened on his armor. And there will now be, of course, a little bit of streak being used right on towards the bounty.
Oh dear, but he sees that
Oh,
there's a
full
player
fire.
close to him. It's behind him, and he's looking around. Where is this guy? Because he knows, he
Well,
realizes that player is close. And it is risky business right over there in the vicinity of the military camp. In the meantime, we see Nubi, who just gets himself a nice little loadout drop and is looting at his most calm pace, I think. Not too much pressure on him. He can just capture the loadout, and with that, move right on. M19 in hands, and as we've mentioned before, the CR AMAX, CR56 AMAX to be precise, with that beautiful 1.21 KD ratio. Let's see if that is going to work well for Newbie, and if he, well, gets a good chance and is maybe not a newbie, as you might even be able to say. He's at least got a 1 frag so far, 1 kill.
Well, it's something. 67 players alive, which is quite a lot looking at how long this time, or at least this game has already transpired. I believe just before we went away from Melee, we already saw a player move past in a very far position. Of course, players in that area having to go towards the circle in the end, as, well, we have to admit, they spawned quite far away. Also, a few cars running past Novi's position. He's now looking for his own stronghold, moving in towards the building, sneaking the door back closed, as it's going to be Mozok, who's trying to move in as well. 1 kill for this player as another player dies somewhere around the map. It's going to be a little bit of a hunt for people wanting to either get a bounty or something else, or possibly even a frag, because the more players you take away, the bigger chances are, of course, also that you might be the sole member left standing in the end, getting those 100 Titan points and, well, more importantly, 1,000 euros.
Absolutely, you know, a beautiful cash prize, and look at this timing. Oh, cracked, but not fragged, and indeed pushes ahead now. Ends up getting the kill with a beautiful wallbang on top. Now Mazak thinks, oh, well, this is a convenient little upgrade for me. Gets the M4 in hands, or the XM4 even, and a Kar 98. That is a solid loadout to work with. And now let's see if Mozart continues reigning supreme. 2nd kill for him, but perhaps there are many more in his future.
And just biding his time. 2 kills, of course, now don't really count towards any points. Still doubting, oh, should I grab this, should I grab that? Well, it doesn't really matter in the end. That's the bounty to at least know where Hombro Felices, who was just a very nice hombre to be around. And now picks up this SUV to move around and just go for a Mariel drive. Decides not to go into the ravine because that's usually a death trap. And he's quite nimble. I wouldn't really dare to go between those logs with my car, I dare to say. And as I say that, he's already scratching it. So I'm quite sure I won't let Mozoki drive in my car as we go back to MacDev, the man we've seen at the start, who's currently without kills, but still alive and almost in the circle.
Indeed, indeed. And let's see what he brings to the table, really. He's got his custom loadout, and there is a truck quite close to him. So it's a risky business for him anyhow. We see that truck closing in as well. And he should be able to get his eyes on it. Oh, and he's going prone. He is playing, well, slow and secure, most of all, I think. But we pan away from him to take a look-see at no one other than Capitan Charlie to see what he pulls off. With one hell of a loadout, he sees the train in the distance, and he might just decide to get on top of that. maybe there might still be some loot up for grabs, but by the looks of it, those crates, oh no, actually not open yet, and Capitan
were
Charlie
close.
decides, nope, I don't need them. He just continues and keeps trotting on to downtown.
Well, his beautiful truck is slightly damaged, but he has a trophy system in the back. In the Netherlands, we actually have a saying, a case in the back, krakaka. But this will just be a trophy in the back. I must say, I'm so confused, but also amazed by the setup of Capitan Charlie, the winner of our first match. Of course, already having made quite some money. But it's so blue, I just don't understand how everything is being set up right there. Do you? Or at least can you understand it slightly?
I see a beautiful vertical monitor there going on, so keep his eyes on his Twitch chat and his stream preview by the looks of it. But I just hope that he's not feeling too blue because of his setup. I guess he's just decided to go with a theme and stick to it. But we'll see what gives as he trucks further on. And, well, he checks the area, he spots a loadout drop there, and a solid call for him, but he feels the shots, I believe, at least if I heard it correctly. There was a shot flying onto him. But indeed, he gets shot down. A clean headshot, it seems, and he decides to go for the order, or well, the self-revive, but sadly, not a chance granted, and he is out of it. Unless he now still has that one gulag left. Might be a good chance, and indeed, capturado, as it says in Spanish. And not too bien hecho, but let's hope that he works well with the crossbow, no less. No explosive bolts, I think. He spotted the player. Oh, but he misses a shot. McDev versus Capitan Charlie. See some notes on the screen. He's holding the corner, but he's flashed down, and this is a tough position to be in. And indeed, he gets beaten out. McDav shoots Capitan Charlie out of the tournament and away from his chance at the €1,000 prize.
Yeah, that was a little bit scary in the end, because McDev, of course, also a player we saw before, was able to take him down. Good stun and a good peek to follow up. If he was just a little bit later, he would have been stunned himself. As we now also see Jakey drop back in. One kill, a loadout drop just in front of him, which is great if you just come back on towards the map. At least you have something to work with, especially this beautiful Kilo 141. And, well, I love his cinematic options, but I still don't think I could play with it, RJ. It's a little bit too beautiful for my simple eyes to understand.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, I mainly don't get the motion blur, really, but I'm not one to judge. I just let him do his thing, and whatever he feels happy with, and whatever works for him, really. He's got one kill so far, and that might just be all he needs. As he now dives into this building, checking those rooms, picking up a little bit of extra ammo here and there. And we'll see him going for the high ground, pushing further up. And so we see, as he clears all the rooms, this place has absolutely been looted. And he looks around. He is on the edge of the circle, and the player count keeps dropping down. Only 44 people remaining. And Jakey, his chances are increasing to get closer and closer to that #1 spot.
Yeah, ever increasing, but looking at the position he's close to, I believe it was Edimje who was also very close to, of course, killing Capitan Charlie before. We also see the Schussverkauf, which I dare to say is the German version of fire sale.
Yes.
That's all I can make of it. Wunderbar.
Problem is, Jakey doesn't seem to be that close to a buy station anyway. He would have to cross a little bit of distance. Of course, that fire sale is something very, very strong and gives you a chance to buy everything that your little heart could desire. Thing is, I can't actually see how much money Jakey has because there was a little icon right in front of it. But we'll see what it gives, as right now Mozok thinks, oh, you know what? I'm just going to run around, or well, drive around in my SUV. I do wonder if he's checked the buy station yet. And, oh, was there a player over there, or was that just instinct?
No, I think Misoki had a mental breakdown. First you see him just drifting around, tooting his horn whenever he can, trying to bait out whoever would be there just to go for a kill. And then he just pre-fires everything, because why not, right? Sometimes you just have to do something crazy, and he figures he'd just go crazy all day, every day. He's in a league of his own, a place of his own. He's still trying to bait out if there's someone around. And if there would be somewhere around, then he at least can play against it, maybe try somewhere else, maybe go for the kill, because it's Mozoki, he's already got 2. There's only 37 players are left standing. One more just went down, as Mozoki, with his current driving, might actually do himself a little bit short.
Indeed, and we see the player count dropping and dropping. Things are getting more and more tense. And, well, I guess Mozok is just going for the I'm making as much noise as possible strategy to actually have a chance or, well, a shot at it. But he is just nice and close to the edge of the map, and that is also an advantage for him. He knows that the edge of the circle is right over there, and I guess he just wants to bait out shots as hard as possible.
There's a truck!
And that is... Oh, indeed, there's a truck going towards that buy station. This could be a chance for Mozok. Is this player going to realize that he's there? He must. And indeed, the truck
There's another
soldiers
truck on the edge.
Oh boy! This is getting tense. This is getting incredibly tense. We're going to see a real right-on derby, I might even say, with all these trucks circling around. And now Mozok takes his aim, he looks, he tags, but he does not get the frag.
2 trucks, 1 circle, a story once told in the Verdansk 84 world. He's looking, however, for other flanks in the circle once more, close in towards a good position. That means another truck comes in as he pre-fires the ground, which is always scary because you need to really kill those bacteria. You can also just wash your hands, you know. As he's now trying to shoot more and more on towards the truck, looking for a lucky shot. However, 1 truck, a player has gone out. The other truck, the player has driven on. And now maybe Mozuki should be scared of his position being pushed out. There is still the Gulag for 6 more minutes, as there's still 37 players left standing. 2 kills still for Mozuki as he sees the truck once more drive by and it's trying to make a U-turn. And he's now, I believe, trying to take down whatever is on the back and maybe just do a little bit of damage so that truck might not be running for all that long anymore.
Exactly, you know, try and disable the vehicle whilst Mozok, I'm gonna hazard a guess there. He accidentally, oh well, he alt-tab. That's, at least I know that issue that you randomly mark something. And I just also get that sometimes that I mark stuff and then I have friends yelling at me, what's over there? And then I realize, oops, sorry, I alt-tab. Whoops, didn't mean to. And this is the tactic you can also play it, of course. Nobi. Tunnel visioned on a pair of stairs.
The boo coming in for the camper, man.
I mean,
Ich weiß nicht, ich darf halt nicht so weit nach vorne wegen dem Sniper rechts.
Who likes a camper, am I right?
Another camper,
indeed,
another boo.
Yep,
coming
I mean,
in.
it's harsh, but nobody likes a camper, do we?
Hat leider nicht
But hey,
geklappt, aber egal,
the good thing
scheiß
is
drauf.
that there is
Wollen
a
wir
circle
trotzdem.
that will force
Hey Leute,
players
jetzt mal ohne
to
Scheiß,
get
stellt euch mal
nice
vor.
and close to each other. Now, in the meantime, it looks that at least we have 1 player that does decide to move around, hug that circle nice and tight, get right close to that edge, and try and, well, take out players like that.
Yeah, in the meantime, we don't get a boo for this man. Chapo Kaifi, as he's moving on the squad, just making his way downtown, going for his bounty and driving fast as he's homebound. Currently 0 frags, but does he even care? No, he just wants to stay alive for the time being. In the meantime, he's just doing slight drifts as he's moving closer and closer in towards the circle. And also accidentally almost a little bit closer to, of course, his bounty. Still not really prone to go for it. He's trying to clear out whatever position is here, and possibly also players that want to move in towards the circle because, well, with the circle now closing and getting smaller, more players are falling back to 32, and he's of course now trying to spot out other players that might be going for a rotate.
Yeah, absolutely. Some interesting positions that could be taken, and oh, was that a player I saw just there? And now, of course... Yeah, Chopo Kaifi, I guess. I'm wondering, you know, if it's not a Russian name that we are mispronouncing somehow. Always difficult. And oh, he spotted the player camping away. And in the meantime, Nobi, he doesn't actually get the frag, it seems. The player that pushed him ahead has fallen back, and now in the end, Nobi does manage to down him. And well, you know, everyone can get a frag if you just camp it out, let's be real.
And he's just going probably back to the same position, enjoy life for as he can. And we go back to Chopo Kaifi, who hasn't gotten the kill, but still has that heartbeat sensor, and is looking for, of course, a better shot at winning. Currently, the gas is closing. The ring will be at a different position soon, or at least a smaller position. As a buggy comes down, it's going to be Chopo trying to get to the chopper. No, not really. Just move in a little bit closer and possibly have a better shot.
Long term, he's trying to get to the chopper, because how else is he going to get out of the war zone, right? Once he gets that number 1 win, then the chopper takes him away. Exactly. You know, long term thinking, man. But we'll see now.
Unintentionally such a good one.
Yeah, exactly. Now we see Mozok moving ahead and deeper into the circle. Very interested to see what he might do here, who he might run into as well, right? Because we are right now on 30 players left. Mozok has, well, gotten 2 frags so far, 2 kills, and is just taking his time looting around. Could have actually picked up an extra Semtex, and now he does. That's a nice little bonus, not something I think he was expecting, but oh dear. Right, yep, come on. Yep, there we go. And oh dear, things
2
getting
more
tense
cars
up here. Yep, 2 trucks getting close, 2 SUVs, I believe, if I see it correctly, and they are just duking it out on the open road.
Into each other.
Yeah,
one actually slowed down so much, I think he crashed towards the other one, and then he figured, you know what, I'm just gonna move away, it seems. Gulag, however, is, I believe, now closing as one of the cars is moving in towards Mazoki, who's, of course, as we know, very prone to getting some shots down, even down range. And now we'll actually head in towards a replay as well. Another one from Nobi. He's actually gone up to 2 kills. Sees another player move towards the car, actually says, here you go then. And that's going to be a big explosion, and down and a kill, a 3rd one. And from going to Boo, he's going to a more Spanish edition of Vamos, going for those kills. As Mazoki is just currently taking a little bit of a shower just to get refreshed for the following fights. And Nobi, he's on the move as the ring, of course, is out of his position. And he now also sees that truck, but luckily the truck is going the other way. And that means he's still going to be safe for the time being. Currently just laying in the pipe and waiting for yet another player to pop up.
And indeed, you know, that C4 of Nobi, that has proved very strong. I gotta admit, I would be so salty if I died to that. But we'll see. McDev, in the meantime, he's still waiting it out. Oh, McDev, please do something. This is so static. Why? How? In the meantime, though, no one other than, of course, Chopo Kaifi, who is getting closer, well, who is being pushed by players, I should even say. That was a truck in his vicinity, and he's waiting this out now. Only moving out of the, well, into the circle at the very end. A risky move, but he's safe. The windows cover him, and I think that players are being redeployed because my Russian isn't the very best, I gotta admit. And I didn't immediately recognize the logo. But we'll see.
No, I think it was the Gulag actually closing because it was supposed to close
yes,
just
of course.
about now.
Thank you.
Yeah, my Russian matched by no one. However, Chopo, he was being shot at and he's rather scared right now. Contemplating on where the player might be, but with the gas also closing in, he might actually have to cross the area with those pipes where Nobi was. As we now still have McDev on here. And he actually sees a player, but the problem is, after he got redeployed from the Gulag, he has not moved from this position. He's just stayed here. And now he's out of the ring. And that means he'll actually have to possibly go for something. Wants to most likely go for the Ausrüsterlieferung. And, well, that might be the best play because then you actually have guns, but with the gas now closing in, I'm not sure he can actually make it. Going for a little bit of a free run style, moving from one little bit to another little bit, trying to go for yet another little bit. Then he knows there is at least one loadout in a safe position, and now he's just about in the ring. And look at the stressed face of a camper.
A camper indeed. The question is he in it? I think he might. Is he able to jump on the edge there, you know, on the part of that radar? And, oh yeah, you definitely put down a heart. But I'm not sure really if he's right into it now. We'll be seeing it in a moment. But yeah, this is how you might want to play, but now he gets tagged up. Doesn't have an armor plate, so he's in a very tough spot now. Could this be the camper? Perhaps getting what's coming to him. Cracked now, and oh dear, he realizes he feels the pressure. Has to go down with the parachute. Now he has to push for that loadout drop. And I hope for him that this is not going to be camped. This is risky. He's taking his sweet time to decide, and he goes down. And I knew it indeed. It was being camped. Of course, someone waiting for that loadout drop. And he goes down. Eliminated. Also not having any armor. Not helping his case there. As now we go back to Mazoki. And he is still in the same pair of showers. His SUV still waiting for him. But the ring getting closer and closer. We are down to the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. And this could be getting very tense very quickly.
Yeah, still standing by with his beautiful car, as of course he doesn't have a car as a sniper. But it's just waiting for, of course, this, well, gas to come in, and he has to redeploy. And we know that our good friend Mazoki is very vocal, so he'll make a lot of noise as he gets actually crossfired between two fires. He's trying to run away, going to be the bush, RJ, and maybe beat the bush as well. He's standing by as his car goes in reverse. Forgot to put it on the handbrake as he's now trying to shoot away both players here. There's two.
Oh no!
One will actually get finished out by the shield player, who's now behind the loadout drop. Oh, this is so awkward, as now it seems like that shield, it might be able to survive, but it's still going to be a lot of shots being fired. The gas is moving in, so Mazoki actually has a good angle. He wants to go for the roadkill.
He's gonna go roadkill. Let's see if it's gonna. Oh no, he's just gonna go away. He is playing around the circle. We are down to the very last four, and indeed now we see him pushing, and the player goes down. But Mazoki, the roadkill is not quite there, and now he is circling around the circle. 3 players left. This could go anywhere. As he falls back to his bush. He's feeling the bush energy right now, and he is playing it safe. He knows that that player is right there, and he knows that he is in a very tense spot. Circle closing down, misses another car shot, and he's only got 3 bullets left. Mazoki is going to have to hit his shot now or never, and he realizes this. He's taking more time for them, spots the barrel, spots the player, cracks, but does not get the frag. This is critical. 3 people left. So tense, and indeed he spots the player, misses it. 1 bullet left in that car, and he decides it's time for the roadkill. Oh, will he be successful? Doesn't look like it. Cracks him again and does get the frag. It's 1v1 now. Oh, Mazoki, this is the last remaining player. All eyes on Mazoki right now, and he gets tagged up. He spots the player. Utility is there. He goes for the battle, and indeed does he win? No, he goes down. He is downed, and he is murdered in the end by Tasty. And that leads to Tasty winning the winner-takes-all tournament, €1,000 and 100 Titan points.
Yeah, Tasty with one hell of a big smile behind his name. And, well, that means that he's going to be the victor here of the winner-takes-all. It was so close. I was actually not going to say I'm biased, but I was really hoping for it to be Mazoki. He did so well. He was so vocal. He was absolutely not camping. But Tasty, in the end, getting a tasty treat. First letting 2 players battle it out and eventually coming home on top with the €1,000 for himself and being the Warzone victor here in the 3rd game of tonight.
And indeed, so well done. So strongly played by Tasty in the end. Mazoki really tried, and it was a tense 1v1. But in the end, there could only be one, and that ends up being Tasty. The lovely €1,000, the 100 Titan points, very, very well deserved in the end.
Yeah, I'm really amazed by the level of play we saw. We saw eventually also campers being punished for camping. Well, MacDev TV, we saw you laying on top of there for a long time. The moment the circle was closing, your opponents were as well, because they figured they'd just go for the kill. Shoot up sooner. And when he dropped, he was eventually waited upon. And that now means that we actually did see Tasty take the win. Mazoki being close, that end fight, it could have gone either way. And I was already a little bit contemplating, because you saw 2 players fighting. First Mazoki against the player he took down in the end. And then you knew that Tasty was somewhere on top because he couldn't be below. And he was just waiting for the moment to strike. He did in the end. And he's now the victor. But of course, just before this game 3, we had a viewer game where 1,000 euros would be divided amongst those who would get the most points. We also have the results of that match right here on your screen. And, well, it seems to be Plexa, the victor in the end, who got the most points as well, as he almost, or he actually had 7 kills. Melee B, the player that unfortunately for him choked in the end, is still good for 200 euros and as well 20 Titan points. So RJO won't be too sad by that one.
Absolutely not. It's still a very nice little cash bonus to take home and some delightful Titan points. So, still well played. At the end, though, Plexa being the best one and getting that top prize for the viewer games. And honestly, so far, I think we can easily say that we've seen a lot of talented Warzone players come around.
Yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting cash money day for some. They were quite happy. Yeah, especially think that Melee beat it really well today, especially that second game. He was my favorite, so to say. In this end game, I had to say Mazoki was my favorite. And in the first one, we had Capitan Charlie, who was the victor in the end, who we saw a little bit early in game 3. We're going to rate someone to make sure that anyone on the Trovo Live platform that actually has Trovo Titans in their title will get the exposure they deserve. We thank you very much for tuning in. In the subsequent weeks, we will of course have more Trovo Titan battles coming in with Brawl Stars first and CSGO Wingman later on. We hope to see you back then again. Thank you very much for watching and have a great night.